This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, friend of the show and a scenic set painter for movies and television, John Bellotti Jr., joins us to discuss the shutdown of the entertainment industry due to the coronavirus and to help us review a really weird and trippy Godzilla movie from the 70s, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, also known as Godzilla versus the Smog Monster.
This new Godzilla is unfriendly and is going to destroy your country. There's nothing you can do about it.
All that and more in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Thursday, March 19th, 2020.
Oh, hi, I didn't hear you come in. This is Ross Marquand from The Walking Dead, and you're listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. Now, if somebody could please explain to me what a geek boner is, my life would be complete. Until then, rock on, nation.
Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. Be jocking, be nerding. Be funny, disturbing. Be jocking, be nerding. Be spoiler alert. Oh yeah. Be jocking, be nerding. Be funny, disturbing. Oh yeah. Be jocking, be nerding.
What's up, listener? Thanks for joining us and welcome to the Jock and Nerd podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
And over there in the corner is America's favorite felty. It's Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs? Oh, shit. Somebody shoot him. Get him out of here.
I just swallowed a bug.
Okay, good.
Oh, my God.
Fucking quarantine him.
I'm already in. My whole life is quarantined.
That's a good point. Rugs cannot spread this virus. Also joining us this week, special guest for a special time in our collective lives. He's works in the Hollywood industry, super talented artist, and the admin of our Facebook group, Jock and Nerd Nation.
More importantly,
he will ban the shit out of you if you fuck around, but he is my favorite opinionated New Yorker. It's John Bellotti Jr. What's up, Bellotti?
Let me tell you something right now. I will not ban anybody if they can give me a fucking job right now. I'm desperate.
Shit. Oh, shit. Yes.
I'm just kidding. I don't want to work. I don't want to work.
I'm surprised you didn't refer to him as just a Godzilla expert like you used to.
He's a Godzilla
Yeah, exactly.
That's all he knows. That's all he knows.
And something Godzilla, John Bellotti, something. I don't know. Look, we're all here. We got a lot to discuss, but can we just acknowledge in the time between we recorded last week and this week, holy shit, has the world changed? The lexicon that we all use now has added such wonderful words like self-quarantine, social distancing, flattening of the curve, infected. It's just been fucking...
Infected. I like that Imran throws in infected.
You gotta throw in infected.
Brand new word.
I mean,
infected.
word.
Brand new.
It's
I've
not
never
new,
heard that before.
but you see it all the time. So with everything moving so fluidly, so rapidly, let's just document this moment in history. Thursday, March 19th at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, the official numbers of this thing.
Yikes.
Coronavirus, 244,973 cases. Deaths have passed 10,000. 10,000.
Worldwide.
33 worldwide. 87,000 recovered. Now, to compare, last week when I checked this site, there was about 125,000 cases, and deaths were just at like 2,500. Oh, right? Shit. Italy, deaths in Italy now surpassing the number of deaths in China, where some good news, first time in 3 months, there have been no new cases of COVID-19 in Wuhan and China. So there's some kind of balance going on here in the USA. 13,000 plus total cases, 209 deaths.
So you think this is like a tidal wave? Like you get hit with the wave
Yeah.
and then like it subsides?
Yes, the wave is done over there, and now we are looking at the wave. If this was a zombie movie, people, we are just at the end of Act 1. Oh, shit. We got 2 more fucking acts to go.
It just depends how big the wave is.
Yeah.
Is it a small wave or is it a typhoon type wave?
It all depends on the assholes out there.
Yes,
Yeah.
flatten that curve, get off the beaches, you fucking idiots. Now, let's just start with, look, last week, we were all like, oh, yeah, it hasn't affected us, business as usual, we're going. That day, if you listen, news was breaking the following day, everything started to get canceled. Anthony, what is your state of work currently?
I have been told to work from home for the rest of the month.
Yep.
So I am working from home and rolling out of bed, throwing on the laptop, and I will say that it is nice to work from home. Under these circumstances, maybe not. And even work is just kind of strange because it's not that busy.
Yeah.
For me right now. So
yeah. So I know Bellotti is going to have the most important story pertinent to our topics of conversation. But for me personally, I'm going to reveal a little bit to the listener because it's suddenly very relevant. I never usually like to talk about work, but I will tell the listener that I work for a minor league sports team in Chicago that was in season. Yeah. So last Thursday, the beginning of the day, I had all this shit to do, getting ready. We had 3 big home games coming up. And by the end of the day, in the afternoon, in the span of a second, all of that was gone.
Oh, shit.
As all major league sports and minor league sports were indefinitely postponed. But essentially, the season's over. Like, this shit ain't coming back. I know they want to avoid saying canceled or everyone's saying postponed. But I think this is going to be more than a postponement.
Yours is definitely. I mean, to piggyback on that, I'm not going to reveal the exact place, but the company I work for, basically, its entire core business is live events, whether they be concerts, theater, or sports.
All shut down.
Yeah, and we're pretty much shut down. We're just kind of giving people their money back as we speak. So
in a matter of a week, bars have banned dining, just carry out and delivery. The theaters have shut down. Sports has shut down. Schools are closed. Everything's
San Francisco's
canceled.
Officially on lockdown as of today.
And I can't help but think
we're all going to be that way. All major cities, all major hubs.
I can't help but think that we are looking at it like a countrywide, complete federal lockdown soon. Maybe by the time this show posts is how fast it's fucking changing.
Now, what's a lockdown?
It's a shelter-in-place order saying don't fucking come out unless you got to go to the hospital or you got to buy groceries or you got to do something essential. In France, there's about 100,000 cops on the streets.
Can you go for a walk?
You can go for a walk.
You can, yeah.
Stay the fuck away from everybody. Mm-hmm. It's weird
you just can't congregate and create crowds.
More than
Pretty
10
much.
people, you don't want to be in a crowd. Rugs.
That's my life anyway.
Yeah, so Rugs, has this really affected
He
your
hates
life?
people, yeah.
Yes.
He's quarantined already.
I've been quarantined I've been ready for this.
Yes. Rugs. Rugs has been working towards this his whole life.
I mean, look, how much more quarantine can you be? I'm in the basement.
Yeah.
I got my little refrigerator on my microwave. I got ramen noodles.
Don't forget the sandwiches.
Yeah, as long as people deliver sandwiches.
Sandwiches, that's the tough thing. You have to go to a deli to get. You can get them delivered.
You get them delivered now. People just keep throwing out your sandwiches.
But then you got to worry about who's giving you the food.
That's a good point.
That's true.
It's weird because you got to go food shopping.
Yeah.
And then you got to clean all your food when you get it. You got to clean it with something.
Soap and water.
I just soak everything
alcohol.
in alcohol.
Yeah, I've been using Tito's vodka to clean everything. It works pretty good.
I just have a lot of absolute vodka. I can't afford Tito's.
Yeah,
so I have that big fucking plastic jug of that Russian thing you can't even pronounce.
Sokovia.
Yeah,
I don't know what
looks like fucking Greek letters.
So
I don't know.
I forgot, what is that? It comes in the plastic bottle.
Yeah,
it is
huge.
horrible.
I just hose everything down with that.
That'll work. Now, Bellotti. Oh, wait, before we get to that, Anthony, you had a trip to Vegas planned, and I believe nothing was shut down there until just recently, where they shut down MGM Grand and Wynn, and now probably they're going to shut down Vegas.
Vegas? It's shut down.
It is shut down.
My trip is not happening.
Apparently, there's one drive-through strip club still open. Oh, shit. It's still there, and he's like, we've been providing nudes for 30 years. We're not going to stop now.
Yeah, he's like, I think
Good for him.
we're not stopping
How do
for
you
the
have
cold.
a drive-through strip club?
I don't know, but I kind of want to go there. I'm very curious. How do you do a drive-through strip show?
That sounds amazing.
Yes. See?
I mean, I have a lot of friends that are around the age where they're getting married. They've had to all start postponing their weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Can you imagine?
It's crazy. And some of these hotels aren't giving money back.
Everything that was planned and scheduled. and
Well, if you call the Better Business Bureau or something, tell on them.
Right. Yeah, and there's an act of God clause in a lot of these things.
So I've been working from home. They shut down the office on Monday, but there's been A lot of layoffs, a lot of unemployment. Bellotti, why don't you refresh the listener? Tell them what you did.
Jeez.
Like in a past life?
No, just for work recently.
job,
What do you do?
The way you phrased that.
Yes.
I don't know.
There's a finality to what he's saying.
I stole like $5 from my mother when I was 15.
That was you. I knew it.
Tell them what you did.
Tell them what you do for a
and
living.
say you're sorry.
And say you're
Show
sorry.
me
Tell
on
them what
this
you did.
Spider-Man toy where they
He
touched
touched
you.
me in the bad
He
place.
touched me me in the web shooter.
Oh, shit. I got web fluid all over me now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I knew there was something about you, Bellotti.
No, Bellotti, what do you do for a living? Refresh the listener if they forgot.
There's not just one thing. I have two careers.
Yes, you did.
And both are affected, which is insane. The first one is I paint scenery for movie and TVs. Movies and
Movie
TV
and
shows. Movie and TVs.
You paint televisions? Why
I'll
would you
steal
want
some
your
TVs.
Are you painting TVs?
Where was I again? What are we doing?
Paint sets, damn it.
I paint sets, right? So
Yeah.
I work in Hollywood. My side job is illustration, freelancing, and I sell my work at conventions.
Yeah.
Both of those industries are completely wiped out. Wiped out in a matter of days.
So, yeah, the show you worked on, all productions of TV and movies have halted and shut down.
So now here's the thing. I've been out of work since January because I had knee surgery.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, nobody really cares. Who gives a shit?
I don't know. I don't think anyone knew.
No. So I hurt myself on the job. So I've been on workers' comp since January. So I've been quarantined since January because I can't go anywhere. So this is just another week for me.
Yeah.
But that's like, oh, I'm starting to get better. Wait, I can't go outside. Go fuck yourself.
So were you at the work when this happened? Take us through what happened.
No, I've been slowly keeping tabs on this,
shit.
but I'm just sort of doing my own artwork and just trying to keep my mind off of my knee injury. And like the last couple of weeks have been crazy. And my coworker, I've been hanging out with them, talking to them, and they were saying the first sign was that they said they were going to install sanitary stations inside the stage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when I'm at work, if somebody is sick, right, whether it's a cold or a stomach bug, whatever, the minute they go into craft services, for those that aren't in the business, which is like 99% of you, craft services is like the free food they give you on set, like snacks and shit like that. And then there's catering where you go and eat dinner. Somebody doesn't wash their hands. They go grab like a handful of chips. Another guy goes in and grabs those chips. He gets sick. And it just tears through the entire film crew. That's what usually happens, right? Oh my God. Yeah. Like, you know how many times I hear like, oh yeah, the whole film crew has like diarrhea. Jesus. It's hilarious because everyone, like one person get, so I'm like, this is bad. They need to stop filming. Yeah. So Sony, which owns our show, I don't want to say anything bad about them, but they're idiots. They wanted to, like a lot of shows were going on hiatus, and we're a network show, so we had like 3 episodes left. Law and Order pulled the plug on their last 2 episodes. Yeah, they were the first ones. They film upstairs from us. And I'm like, why is Blacklist still going? What's wrong with these people? We have 3 episodes left. So finally, last Friday, they pulled the plug on us. And instead of saying it's a wrap on the season, they just said it's indefinite. Even though every other network show has said it's a wrap on the season, we're not coming back. We'll come back in July when we're supposed to. They leave you hanging a little bit. Which is annoying. They said they were going to pay us, but I don't know if that affects me because I'm on workers' comp right now and I can get into a lot of trouble. And I wouldn't want to take money anyway because I haven't been there. Yeah. But I don't know what they're thinking. Even if they come back in April, it's more expensive to start up a production than it is to end it. So if they call it quits now, then they could just come back in July when hopefully this thing calms down or levels off, blows up, whatever. That's the cheapest, best way for them to do it. But a lot of shows aren't even wrapping up their seasons. They're just like, okay, 2 episodes left, we're done. So there's no season finale. Yes, there will not be. And there's also an impending writer's strike that was going to happen. So some places, got a jump start and made more scripts. But I think network TV has the worst because you have scheduled out these seasons. You have time slots. Right. And well, not to cut you off, network TV kind of escaped this a little bit because they were sort of wrapping up. Yeah. But the problem is all the films and the streaming. Yeah. Because I'm hearing from other friends like carpenters and painters that like, oh, my show is on hiatus for 2 weeks. Mine is on hiatus for 3. Mine is on hiatus for a month. Wow. It's all different. But the network shows already had this plan that they were going to wrap up because we were going to be done in late April anyway. So Sony, like I just read that they're hoping without hope. Like at out of all the network shows, we're one of 3 that they think is going to finish, and it's not.
It's just going to be like the sports industry, unfinished seasons of shit.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have to move on and pick up later.
Yeah. But on top of this, right, I mentioned I do conventions where I sell my artwork.
Yeah.
You guys mentioned in Emerald City Comic-Con in Seattle, rightfully so, canceled the show. But every show across the board, all the big spring shows are canceling. I think C2E2 was the last big one, which our buddy Dope was at. Luckily, he got into that show, and you guys were there, obviously. But that was the last big one. I just put in my application for New York Comic-Con in October, and I'm like, I don't know if that's going to actually happen or not.
WonderCon got canceled, and this is the same company that does San Diego Comic-Con, and I am doubtful if San Diego goes on this point.
San Diego's late July.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It's tough to really, honestly, like I was talking with Chaz Hebert on for Jock Talk.
Their bottom is very weak.
Thanks, Chaz. I think I just call him Jazz. Whatever.
Jazz.
And we were like trying to speculate as we were talking about when this would end, and I just went, we can't. There's literally nothing to compare this to. To even speculate would just be guessing.
Yeah.
Like, there's no. I've heard projections of this could blow over by June. I've seen July. Yeah. I've seen where we could be like this for a year. Like
until we get a vaccine.
Who knows?
And how do you know when it's time to come back? Like, is there a flag? Is there a horn that goes off? Like, there's no way to fucking know.
I've looked. There is a way. So like I've looked at Ebola.
Yeah.
And how that kind of blew over, and eventually, like if the numbers level off, you eventually get to a point where you've quarantined all the people, no one else is getting sick, and then you've had a good system where you're able to identify the sick people and isolate them right away.
Flatten the curve.
There is a way, but
then there's vaccines.
Well, the vaccine stuff, I think
there's medicine that helps you treat
the vaccine. We're like a year away from
the vaccine. I think the vaccine stuff, people really need to not put their hopes in.
No, it's going to take a year.
Not only is it taking a year, they're going to take a year. Ebola, MERS, SARS, all these other outbreaks, there's no vaccine for any of that stuff.
Yeah.
They never have invented vaccines.
They discovered, I saw recently, this malaria drug that seems to work against this COVID-19.
So, I think that hopefully, like, in a few months, they're going to get something that at least shaves off, like, can curtail the death toll.
Yeah.
Maybe shaves off a few, not cure it, but I mean, just lower the impact of it. So it's not like just killing people, like, in these...
I think India just experimented using HIV drugs, and they were able to cure someone with it. So
they've cured 2 people with AIDS. I think maybe in India, right?
I don't know.
This is like a first. Sure. Like while this thing's happening, they're curing HIV.
It's like big deal.
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing.
Who cares about AIDS?
Well, I don't have AIDS anymore.
But I got this respiratory disease.
There's also, we're obviously talking Corona. There's a lot of ethical stuff with how fast they're moving on the vaccine, because I've read that
you can't rush it.
Well, they have. They're moved past animal trials.
Already.
And are already doing human. The problem is there's a lot of ethical things with that. Like, the whole credo or motto for medical professionals is do no harm. Yeah. And you're risking doing harm by doing that.
Well, I've heard there's some brave people who have it who are volunteering for the test.
But is that ethical to jump right into humans?
Yeah, no, not in the Planet of the Apes movie.
Well, if you're trying to save a bunch of people's lives, I think it's ethical.
Yeah.
I think it's admirable.
Doing it,
it's really admirable, actually.
Well, I'm running into a hail of bullets to save people.
Sure. Sure.
But is it responsible too? Like, that's the thing. Like, are we being, as medical professionals, are you following the do no harm? You don't know.
No, you're not. You're absolutely not. But
if you get their consent, if you get their consent,
I don't know. And we don't know. Like the vaccine, it might never happen.
Right.
And I read too that there's not a lot of business. Like, we're pushing obviously towards this vaccine, but the reason why vaccine companies don't want to come up with vaccines for these things is these aren't reoccurring diseases.
Right.
So if you come up with a vaccine for this,
it's one time.
You've invested all this money for the one-time payout on the disease being cured, but then there's nothing left.
The real money is in the testing units.
Well, no, the real money is in like the flu, which every year has a different strain, which you then are able to keep this coming year after year after year.
That's a good point.
Well, but again, it's also money and resources. Like, what are you going to spend all your money and resources on? Something that keeps coming back, or something that's just going to like be a wave?
Right.
Like H1N1 is gone. and never came back. Same thing with a few of them. I think right now they just need to look at Asia and just see what's going on there.
What did you do?
Because even if it's like, I know they reported no new cases in China, but it might come back. So they have to really keep an eye on everything and see, is it going to come back? Is it come back worse?
Yeah, I definitely think that it'll go away. It'll come back.
The problem is that every country now seems to have it.
Yeah.
Right.
So unless every country goes on lockdown or we just shut off our borders for a very long time, like there's a theoretical possibility. Like if we go back to the kind of free borders that the world had, it'll come back.
That, the world before what this may not exist the way it used to anymore, which is fucked up. And, COVID's 1 through 18 weren't that bad. Oh, shit. The 19th one that fucking got you.
Okay, there's two things I want to get out before I forget. Number one, don't take ibuprofen.
What? Why?
That's what I heard. It was bad.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that too.
So, it's not, don't take that, take acetaminophen. So, that's number one.
Alrighty.
Number two is that the reason why this is so bad is because people have it and they don't know it.
Right.
Yeah. And they're spreading it.
Yeah.
And it's so, and it takes 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So for 2 weeks, and then we have no tests.
Yeah.
So
no testing,
if you could just get a test in the mail, everybody in America gets a test in the mail. They test it and they fucking send it out. They mail it out, and then, whatever, a couple days they find out if they have it or not. Then, in the meantime, they just don't move. They don't leave their house. And then if they're clean, at least they know that they're clean.
I mean, people may have to have like badges or cards saying I'm clean. I mean, 23andMe, you could spit in a tube and find out your whole goddamn genetic history. How hard is this? Why can't we get one of those similar tests for this thing?
That is the scary part, is that there's young people that can be asymptomatic and still
just
spread it
around.
Because most Americans will get, like, if they do experience symptoms, the virus will stop in your throat.
Yeah.
But it's when it gets down to your lungs when it's real scary.
California governor, I think, just said today he anticipates like half of the population of California getting the virus at some form. It's what the numbers show. But look, let's get to some of these fucking news things I got.
There's news?
I did want to focus on, because
there's other news.
There's other news. Well,
cares about?
It's all related. Nobody cares about any of this. Because we have Bellotti here, and like you heard, I wanted to focus on the effect on the entertainment industry and stuff we love, like movies and TV shows. Black Widow was one of the last movies to be delayed, and they finally pulled it from the release schedule, but it does not have, they did not give it a date. This following a chain of reactions where movies like Mulan, Fast and Furious 9, A Quiet Place 2, No Time to Die, Antlers all postponed their releases. Fast and Furious 9 pushing back to a year almost, next year in April. And then the theaters started shutting down, AMC, Regal, Cinemark, closing all locations. And then they're like, okay, we're going to postpone Black Widow. However, in the geek sense, I don't think it's going to affect Marvel's Phase 4 much, it being a prequel in terms of storylines, fucking up the delay in production on Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, WandaVision, all of which have shut down also. So who knows when they can finish that.
They're saying 2 weeks for a lot of the shows.
Really?
I think that's too ambitious.
That's way too
optimistic.
It's way too optimistic.
Bellotti, did you hear how they shot The Mandalorian? This may be the new way to make these things. All of that was shot in front of this amazing screen projected outside background. Like none of that stuff was outside. It was on a set with a projection of landscapes and shit, and it looked amazing.
Oh yeah, they. I read an interview with the producer and I think Jon Favreau.
Yeah,
and they spent months trying to convince. I think it was Disney or the money people. They were like, look, we have this idea. We want to do this screen, and it takes like 5 years to grow those crystals for that LCD screen.
Shit.
And he said nobody understood what they wanted to do until they got it. Like they got approval to do it, and a producer walked onto the set, and he didn't know he was standing in that. He's like, oh my God, this is incredible.
Real?
Yeah. He's like, I can't believe it. Like it's now, like, because I work on this stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing that surprised me when I watched that show, because I only watched like the first 4 or 5 episodes.
Good. Finish it.
I could tell everything was like a green screen or whatever. Everything was phony. Except when I can't remember the episode, but he's on with the Nick Nolte alien.
Yeah.
That
Quill.
It looked like a sort of like a desert landscape or whatever.
Yeah, with the Jawas where he's like climbing their vehicle.
The Jawas, yes.
Yeah.
That I thought was like, oh, where'd they go to, like Arizona for that? Like that was good.
Right?
But like the snow planet, I could tell was all, screen or whatever.
It still looked pretty good, man. That technology.
No, it's great.
It's crazy.
It's good.
No, see, it's in John's best interest to say that it sucks.
That's true. We need people.
Job.
Yes.
Well,
and if he says that that's awesome, he has no job.
There's still sets to paint in this
I know. I used to think that too. Like when Sin City and 300, those movies are coming out. Do you remember like they filmed them all in the green screens and there goes the sets.
Yeah.
But it's bullshit because that's never going to happen because anything that's like that we've been replaced with is all the backdrop stuff. So that screen doesn't really affect me at all.
Right.
We don't do backdrops anymore.
Right.
Only like theaters do it. It's all the rocks they sit on, the rooms that they're in. Like that all has to be built. That's all practical stuff. And you're not going to get the looks that you do, with the lighting and the atmosphere by doing a CGI set. It's just, it's
the
never going to look
background is
good.
easier. Yeah.
Yeah. The background's always easier.
This fucking New Mutants movie can't catch a break, by the way. 4th time it's been
no one cares about
delayed.
this. But that's fine. Listen, at least it was canceled for a good reason.
Yes. Instead of just pushed back.
Yeah. No one wants to see it.
I heard it's terrible from a friend of ours
Oh,
who I
really?
will not name.
Oh, you got the inside scoop. That bad, huh?
Yeah. He said it was like bad. Like not just like good bad, like a good bad movie, like Roadhouse, but it's like bad,
it's a bad movie.
It's just a bad movie is what he said.
Probably like Bloodshot. What have you heard on the Bloodshot? The reviews are not good.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's Vin Diesel. He looks nothing like Bloodshot either.
I heard it was very generic.
You know what the problem with that is?
Yeah.
You're never gonna have another MCU explosion because nobody has Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
Vin Diesel is not. Yeah, Vin Diesel and Bloodshot. Those aren't the character. It's not the character and the actor to launch the Valiant universe. I'm sorry.
It's at 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.76 average rating. But here's the thing, it made $9 million, which is under. We were talking 10 to 12 million. It's made about $24 million on a $45 million budget. This is the absolute worst weekend to release movies. The box office saw the lowest level that last weekend in over 20 years.
Oh, shit. Well, I don't think it has to do with the movie. That's all to do with
that's
the
just a virus.
So they're going to be releasing it on video on demand early, March 24th. Geek Boner. Just 11 days after it's released. You'll be able to watch it at home for $20.
That's good.
And Bellotti, what do you think about this? More studios are putting out first-run movies early on home entertainment. You'll be able to watch The Hunt, Invisible Man, the new Trolls movie coming out day and date on streaming, and Birds of Prey will also be released early, video on demand. Disney Plus put out Frozen 2 early. I think this is a good move now. I don't think this will be permanent, and as much as everyone would like it to be permanent,
well, I like it. It's not the first time it happened. I just think they need to lower the price, because right now it's like $20 and I don't want to pay.
You are not at $20 a household to watch a first run movie. You are not making back your investment on a fucking $100 million movie plus,
Oh, I know. Of course. Oh, I'm just being a cheap bastard.
You can't
I always be a cheap bastard.
You can't.
No, but this isn't the first time this happened. Steven Soderbergh did it years ago with, I forgot the name of the movie, but it was like the first time. It was like when Netflix first, I think, went streaming.
Yeah.
Or I think it was like right on the cusp of all this. And he released a movie in theaters and on streaming at the same time.
Oh.
And they just did it with Parasite. I saw it in the theater, but I could have watched it at home.
Oh, yeah. Parasite, because that had been at the Festival Con, which has been postponed. Like the biggest film festival, they postponed that shit.
South by Southwest.
It was out on streaming while it was in the theater. Anthony, do you think this will be the new normal, that these movies come out on streaming day and date if and when the movie theaters ever fucking reopen?
No,
right?
They've been probably 2 weeks after, maybe.
And why not?
Well, first off, actually, that is a good point. If you want to win an Oscar, you still have to release your film in movie theaters.
In a theater. Oh, shit, that's right.
But as far as like this becoming the new normal, no, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think
after this, people are going to want to go back out again.
Yeah.
After,
Well, that's true, too. They're like, please.
So from my experience at work, we're already anticipating, if this ever gets back to normal, which it should, hopefully, that business in terms of social gatherings will actually boom. because people will have been cooped up for so long that they'll be in a celebratory mood and want to do all the things that they haven't been able to do.
Everyone will be buying tickets.
Well, everybody will be poor and have no money.
Or that. Or the world's very different.
Or the people that are lucky enough to be still getting paid will have actually a lot of money.
Well, it's like after World War II, the baby boom, you know?
Yeah.
People, people went out partying.
Babies will go. There will 9 months from now. There will be a shit ton of babies.
There's going to be Corona babies all over the fucking place.
Corona Bellotti Jr.
Quarantines.
Corona kids.
The Corona kids. That's a new PBS show. Hey kids, welcome to the Corona kids.
Well, yeah, we could totally get sidetracked just talking about this.
Wait, what I wanted to say was actually, Anthony.
Yes.
Without sports to watch, what is the jock world like right now?
There's not much. There's a lot of NFL stuff going on. UFC is still trying to put on some fights.
WrestleMania.
Nobody will be there, but it'll be 2 days.
Gronkowski's hosting 2 nights of WrestleMania.
Fucking Gronkowski.
In front of nobody.
Jesus.
I have been highly entertained. The internet's great. At some point, they've been doing these like commentaries on live marble racing. So I've been watching marbles.
I saw something about marble racing,
which is pretty funny.
What the fuck?
Check out marble racing. But other than that, what have I been doing? I've recently finished my last Oscar movie, Little Women. So
wow, you saw it. Good for you.
I saw Little Women. Yeah,
you did it all.
You're a braver man than me.
I've watched all the Oscar films before any of you guys. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Did I love Little Women?
So let me ask you, because I still haven't seen all the Oscar movies.
Yeah.
My brother just saw most of them. He says Jojo Rabbit was better than Parasite, and I said no fucking way. So what did you think? What was your overall
between those two?
Well, all of them. Out of all the nominated movies.
My thoughts. I'm allowed to have my thoughts changed because I've only seen all of them just once.
Right.
I would say Parasite is the best, but to your Jojo Rabbit point, I really liked Jojo Rabbit.
It was good.
I would have it in my top 4 or 5 at least. I might even the last ranking I did with where I put Little Women there, I had Jojo Rabbit at 3.
I saw that also. I fucking love it.
Where's Little Women?
Love that movie.
Little Women, I think I had like 7 or 8. I might actually put it when this is all said and done at the last one, not because it's not a good film, but it's just not my film. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Jojo Rabbit's fucking ballsy. That's a ballsy
awesome.
movie, and it's very good. It's very charming.
Little Women, for what it's worth, is a good film. Is a very, very good film, but it's just it's not made to appeal to me.
I've heard that's the best version of that book by Louisa May Alcott. I remember the author, Lisa Morrison.
The ending is kind of ambiguous too. It's not from the book, so it kind of, if you follow the book, it's not the same. And
does it end like Sopranos, where you don't know if she's whacked or not?
It just cuts to black.
Sort of.
And Journey stops.
It ends in a way where you don't know what happened, if what happened really happened, or if.
Oh God! It's like Inception. Did the top spin over?
No, it's top spinning.
Little Women is one of those movies. I'm like every year I feel like that movie gets made.
Yeah,
this is the 7th adaptation.
Yeah,
it's either that or it's some Keira Knightley Victorian era period piece that I'll never watch.
I had no idea that the one from I think 94.
Yeah.
Because I would never watch Little Women.
Yeah.
Had like Winona Ryder, Claire Danes,
seen that one.
And Kirsten Dunst.
Yes. And that's why I watched it, because they were all super hot at the time. I was like, oh, shit, I got to watch
Kirsten
this.
Dunst is like 12 years old in that, Imran.
I was just very confused because I expected them to be small, and they're just regular-sized women.
It should be called regular-sized women.
Oh, shit. Yeah. I thought they were going to be hiding in the cupboard,
there's a few lines in this one where the dad comes back, and he's like, oh, I love my Little Women. I'm like, oh, my God, no one would ever talk like that.
They
would say, I love my Little Women.
They say, oh, my Little Women.
That's like I was watching The Perfect Storm the other day because I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And
that's a good
that
movie.
one line, this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. It will be the perfect storm. I'm like, they wrote that line? Really? That's dialogue?
It's never good when the title of the movie is shoehorned into the fucking movie.
Not at all. Except The Warriors.
Oh, yeah. Warriors is good. That works.
Well, it's named after the game.
That's the only time it works.
In celebrity news, Idris Elba, Daniel Day Kim, and Tormund from Game of Thrones all test positive for coronavirus.
Could I quote our buddy Michael Chukowski of thevampirerobots.com?
Yes. What did he say?
He said, I don't know if this is verbatim. He said Idris Elba got coronavirus because all the shitty movies he was in weakened his immune system.
Oh, shit.
That was a good one.
That's pretty good. And then Tormund just needed to drink. What was he drinking? Like dragon's milk on the show? What was that shit? He just needed to drink more of that.
Oh yeah. I think. Well, he I think he grew up from the teat of a giant.
Oh, it was giant's milk. That's what it was. He was drinking fucking giant teat milk.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, just today, a couple Lakers got tested positive for coronavirus. So might be one of them might be LeBron.
Oh man.
And Sean Payton of the NFL, the New Orleans Saints coach, is the first NFL guy to get
wow.
Well, there was someone in the New York Yankees minor league system got tested positive for it.
I mean, yeah, as these tests come out, we're going to see more and more people.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, but the odds are one of these famous people might even pass.
I mean, an older person, or maybe not even an older person.
I'm calling it now. It's going to be fucking Val Kilmer. He's gone.
God, Betty White has survived
still
everything.
alive?
He's still,
yeah, he is.
He is still alive.
Oh.
He was in Jay and Silent Bob the reboot.
Oh, he was.
Was he?
We will talk. Yes,
Yes.
we'll talk about that.
Is he still big and bloated?
Oh, he looks horrible.
He looks like he has like a stroke and didn't really talk.
He looks like
just
Marlon
kinda stands
Brando
there.
at the end of his
Yes,
life.
yes.
From like the Island of Dr. Moreau with the big white costume on.
Even worse than that.
I think
Oh
Betty
my
White
God.
can beat coronavirus. She's survived everything else. She'll be fine.
You know who's going to fucking beat coronavirus? Russell Brand.
Why?
He's already had everything.
It's true. Every fucking STD.
Yeah.
So if you're a celebrity now, you kind of have to be careful. You could be like Jared Leto, who just came out of a 12-day retreat away from the world and was like, holy shit, what's going on out here? He literally yesterday just found out about this.
He should have just gone back out to the another 12 days.
Yeah, why did he should turn around and be like, I'm out?
Much safer.
You know?
Yeah, stay where you were, buddy.
I heard there was someone told me yesterday that there was a show that they're filming, I think in Germany, like a Big Brother show.
Oh yes,
where they
the cast of Big Brother Germany does not know they were going to tell him live on TV.
That's crazy. Why don't they just tell them?
That is the
That sounds like a movie.
yes. All of
like
this is a movie.
They get out of their show and everyone's dead.
Yes. They want the ratings. So they're going to tell them live on the air on Big Brother Germany. So those people did not know. Or you could be like Vanessa Hudgens, who called it bullshit on social media. Now her career is pretty much done.
He's hot, but she's dumb as hell.
She's hot.
She is. When they make a movie about this in like a year or so, I think The Rock is going to be the star.
Oh, yeah. It'll be like
It's
San
gonna be a
Andreas
Rock-
or something.
a Rock-
As far as Vanessa Hudgens, although she did say something stupid and she's getting a lot of flack for it, but
she apologized.
The world, well, she did, but the world is so crazy right now that everyone will forget in a day or two.
Oh, absolutely. Like this every hour, there's a fucking new thing happening.
Tony, I don't know. I'm sure you know about this, but did you think it was a little like weird that Tom Brady left the Patriots in the middle of all this?
Yeah. What was up
Crazy,
with that?
right?
Like, this is the best time to get out because no one will care.
Yeah, that's what someone was saying to me. Because Brady can't take a piss. Tom Brady can't take a piss without the fucking paparazzi, everyone, Sports Center talking about him. So he was probably like, I'm going to go now while no one's
bury
paying
this
attention.
news.
Actually, I think him leaving now so I'll take the opposite approach. That's the only sports thing that happened. So actually, that's what everyone's talking about in sports is that he left. So, but he's not going to get hounded by the paparazzi because they got to stay home. Everyone's got to stay home.
Everybody in Boston, you can't go to the bar for St. Patrick's Day, and now Brady leaves. They're probably just hanging themselves.
Oh, shit.
They had a good run.
Yeah, they had a good run.
Good. Time to he's so
Fuck
old. Why,
them.
No one feels sorry.
why
I don't
doesn't he
feel sorry for
retire? He still wants to play.
Because he could still
he can
do it.
Because he's good. Yeah,
He's good. He's not like Peyton Manning where he got fucked up.
yeah. He's
He
still
could
good.
still do it. Yeah. He missed that one season because he got tackled the wrong way.
Yep.
Yeah, he'll do it till he can't do it anymore. That's it.
He
And then
rips his arm
he'll
off.
start making movies.
It's crazy. Disneyland shut down and possibly losing $20 million a day while their parks closed, and they resisted also. And apparently attendance was huge the night before they shut down. Everybody came out.
Well, Shang-Chi shut down, and they're losing like $300,000 a day. or
So
something.
Shang-Chi's director self-isolated, thought he had it. He got tested. He's negative. But yeah, Shang-Chi shut down. The Batman, Matt Reeves shut down. Matrix 4, the Avatar sequels. That's fucking shits are never coming out now. I don't know when are you going to put out the Avatar.
It's everything now.
It's everything. Every major movie production has
There's
fucking
nothing.
shut
I mean,
down.
you have a list, but it's everything.
It's just
It's
assume
everything.
it's fucking everything. Another interesting thing with the stocks down, Anthony, maybe I could shed some light on this. Analysts saying Apple is in a position to fucking buy Disney.
Oh, shit.
Because of the stock. And in fact, right now, if we all pooled our money together, we could probably buy a controlling interest in a company. Like GameStop is like $1. Like we could own GameStop right now if we wanted to.
Let's
yeah,
do it.
I don't know. I'm not the stock expert, but I think it's just because they own a decent share already, and with it being lower, they could acquire it. I read an article that if Steve Jobs was still alive, some guy was like, if Steve Jobs was still alive, well, they would have figured out a way for Apple and Disney to be working together already.
I mean, absolutely, because he had the Pixar and the and kind of got them all together.
Pixar would go back to Apple. How about that?
Yeah, that'd be crazy. So Disney $1 billion company, Apple $1 trillion company. That's a big fucking gap there.
Well, I read that they're not going to do it. Like somebody was like, I forgot who it was. It was like some sort of financial analyst was saying that if Apple wanted to buy Disney, they could right now, but it doesn't mean that they were sitting around. Like Tim Cook wasn't sitting around saying we should buy Disney.
Yeah.
I know that their Apple TV is hurting because it sucks.
Now that they got all this buzz, maybe they
might
bring it up or a lot of the time at these meetings. Sometimes something that's in the news could totally spark something.
Well, that's how Miles Morales was created, right? Because of was it Daniel Glover? Was that his name?
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. Remember there was that campaign to get him to play Spider-Man after the Tobey Maguire movies?
Yeah.
And then, what's his name? Brian Michael Bendis saw that, and he's like,
Mark Bernardin also wrote an article.
Yes, that's who it is.
About Donald Glover. And then, Bendis saw that. He's like, let's just make a new Spider-Man called Miles Morales. Yeah. And he's an amazing character. So other articles saying Hollywood could take a $20 billion hit from coronavirus easily, I think.
Oh, easily.
The number is in the B's. And as far as the MCU does, what form do we get phase 4 in? I think, what is it going to change?
Who knows?
Yeah.
There's no way to call it.
Unfortunately, as fun as it is to predict this kind of stuff, it's so unpredictable.
All right, so here is some more facts regarding conventions. I got a press release from Wizard World. We got press passes last year. Wizard World already preemptively, this is what they put out. They are saying they will launch a Wizard World virtual experience to bring the convention experience online. Later this month, they're going to launch this thing where celebrities and groups involved in the inaugural programming will be announced. Fans will have the ability to purchase a personal 1-minute video chat or a 15 or 30-second personalized video recording like a cameo. You can still get your signed 8x10 photos, signed memorabilia. There'll be group chats, limited edition art. Wizard World already proactively saying we're going virtual this year. I think you're going to see a lot of these places follow. But Bellotti, how do you sell your Artist Alley wares if everything goes virtual? They have to include you guys in this. I've
been seeing a lot. I don't know. They've been talking a lot about this. Like Emerald City did something similar to that, where they had like blocks of time. Where it's like, okay, between 1 and 3, we're going to show this artist, this artist,
and this feature artist. These guys. That's a great idea.
I had this idea because I'm supposed to do MegaCon in mid-April. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. It's in Orlando. Yeah. There's no way. If Disney shut down, there's no way they're doing this. Yeah. But I had this stupid idea of setting up my table, putting my banner on it, putting all my prints on the table, and just doing like a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live of like my table and talking about my art and saying, here, this is like the link to buy this stuff. But if the post office is shut down, it doesn't matter anyway. And no one's making any money. But that's the idea I had. Now, someone's going to hear this and go do it. But I'm assuming that's what they're going to do. It's just you go on and it's sort of like a Skype or something along those lines.
Like
and
different rooms you can jump in and out of and stuff maybe.
Yeah, and I'm sure people are just setting up in their homes. They're not going to go out for this to set up a table. And it's probably going to be like an eBay sort of thing where it's like, buy, so you click on this link to buy this or buy that. But again, if no one has money, I don't know. Yeah. But this might push in like a whole new era of the con experience, or just teleworking, and I think it's going to open up a lot of doors. For the job you didn't think you could do at home, all of a sudden you could do it at home.
You could do it at home. What do you guys think about an online Comic-Con going on?
You're missing the community experience. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Social experience.
What's really the point?
I mean, if they want to just offer something like that, I guess in this situation, it's probably the best thing they can offer. But if you're saying like this is going to be now a thing, I think as Bellotti said, the big thing about cons is being in a room where everyone is like-minded, like that feeling of being around everybody around you cares as much as you do about this niche thing.
How are the cosplayers going to get seen?
Right. And for
virtually.
cosplayers.
Yeah.
Cosplayers.
Virtually.
Free Comic Book Day, which is always the first Saturday in May, where you can go to your local comic book shop and there's a whole stack of free shit that publishers put out, is now going to be Free Comic Book May.
Oh, shit.
The whole month of May, they are splitting out the distribution of these books to ease shipping and handling at the comic store. And so the whole month of May, there'll be different free comic books at your local comic book store. The problem is, I've already seen this start to happen. Because of the shutdown, if you are a small mom and pop shop, a temporary shutdown is inevitably going to lead to a permanent shutdown. Some of these places, if they're down for a week, that's it. The business is done. And I've already seen some stores say, we're not reopening. We just can't after this. And we can, we'll deliver you a pull list online. You can communicate.
But this isn't just common. This is every small business.
This
isn't. I know we want to stay in our lane a little bit, but small business in general, people are going to go belly up during this time, unless the government helps subsidize a lot of these.
Or
things.
you do the thing where you're buying gift cards from restaurants to use later, gift certificates. Try to support your local small. It's hard, but small businesses are going to be. They're going to be hurt.
I mean, the thing and it's all well and good to do that, and if you have the means to support small businesses, do that. But there's a lot of people that just don't have jobs to even support.
So this, all this shit happening at once is just a bad fucking cycle. It's a bad situation getting set up. But there's some positives, people. It's not all doom and gloom. NASA has shown images from China and Italy and saying that the pollution has gone down in China and Italy, and in fact, in Venice. There are dolphins and swans returning to the canal. This is the first time dolphins have been there for 60 years.
Oh, shit.
Actually, I was going
to say we may have inadvertently figured out a way to solve world pollution. Is that maybe every year you just shut everything down for like a month and it cleans up. I don't know.
I put out an Instagram thing the other day where it was like some positives from this going on so far. So I'll just read them because there's 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, let's hear some more.
So, according to the New York Post, China has shut down all 16 temporary coronavirus hospitals in Wuhan as cases are drastically diminishing. Number 2, a potential COVID vaccine has already reached human testing. We talked about that, important first step. Countries all over the world are suspending water, electricity, and internet shutoffs for residents unable to afford their bills.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. A lot of people saying, don't pay the lease on your restaurant, just pay your employees.
Doctors in India, I mentioned this, have cured a coronavirus patient with a combination of HIV drugs, suggesting this treatment be used on a global scale. And from the Daily Mail, a 103-year-old Chinese grandmother has fully recovered from the coronavirus after a 6-day treatment.
Oh, that's huge.
So not every old person goes away. Now, the percentage, I think, is like 20, 30%.
Yeah.
It's a killer, but it's not like... So Ebola, for instance?
Yeah.
So I think the number right now for the world is around somewhere between 2 and 10. We don't know. Ebola is like vicious. It's like a 35%, 35 to 40% killer.
And there was an outbreak of that recently in the Congo, just while this was happening.
World Health Organization was basically releasing
Ebola numbers too.
Yeah, well, they were during the summer they were like, we got to watch out for this.
It's
this
still
is crazy.
around. That's still there. Here's another crazy story in Thailand. You know how there's like just city monkeys in Thailand? There's monkeys everywhere. The tourists love them. They eat the tourist food and they hang out. Well, now without any tourists, there's literally gangs of monkeys fighting in the fucking street of Thailand looking for food. So that's fun.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
I just saw this thing on Twitter. A bunch of elephants.
That's a movie right
there. That's a movie, right? That's Planet of the Apes.
There's a bunch of elephants in China, broke into this farm.
Oh, shit.
Looking for corn, and they found all the corn wine, and they drank it all, and they got drunk, and they fell asleep in the farm.
Oh, that's adorable. The elephants got drunk and passed out.
It is. They're partying.
See? There's still good things. There's good hope.
Agent Smith from the first Matrix was right. Yeah. We are the virus.
Yeah. Just like The Walking Dead. It's not the monsters, the zombies. It's the fucking people.
We're the monsters.
It's the people you got to look out for.
We're terrible.
Okay, this is a good place. We're going to take a quick break, play some promos, and we're going to come back and review a legit Godzilla movie, people, right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We'll get you back to your regularly scheduled podcast in just a minute. But we wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Blake on this highly produced advertisement.
That's right. It's the History of Bad Ideas, a.k.a. Hobie. You can find us on Twitter at Bad Ideas Podcast and on Facebook at the History of Bad Ideas. But if you like a podcast roundtable with 3 to 5 guests, usually every week, depending on sick leave, talking about all things geek, including movies, TV.
I ain't getting paid for this shit.
Blake bitching about something and ranting, and comic books and anything else that we can think of. We have a top 5 list every week, along with a box office news, and somehow we have listeners, so they send us some feedback we answer every week. You can find us on iTunes,
Stitcher,
Facebook,
Spotify,
and any good podcast app, because if you can't find us on that podcast app, it's not a good podcast app.
Damn straight. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hey guys, this is Venice, and I've got a message from a friend of mine about my favorite podcast.
It's your boy, Flavor Flav in full effect. Check this out, everybody. I want y'all to go check out TJ.
What's good, everybody? TJ Johnson here from Voice from the Underground. I am the most handsome.
Big Has.
And I'm smoking my cigar, of course.
You know what I'm saying? The Dutch.
You pick me up in an Uber and a PT Cruiser, I'm calling Lyft.
Cause they be fighting the power, talking about social issues, politics, you know what I'm saying?
And we're not even that good.
Right, we're terrible. Terrible.
Tangents all over the place.
And not only that, but they be keeping it fun with the sports, music, comics, and movies too.
Am I allowed to talk?
I think, no, not right now.
Shut up, colonizer!
You know what I'm saying? He on Twitter at VFU Podcast. So you can find them, So check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav. Yeah, boy.
Okay, what Flav was trying to say is, check out Voice from the Underground on your favorite podcast network.
Voice from the Underground.
And
Anthony, you've been working hard during the quarantine, putting up bonus content on our lovely fan club that you can find at jockandnerd.com/Patreon. What'd you put up this week? Kind of talked about it a little bit already.
A little bit earlier, but there's a Jock Talk up there. Did you put that up yet?
That is up there.
That's up there. There's an instant reaction to Jojo Rabbit and an instant reaction to Little Women. As I mentioned earlier, I've now completed my Oscar tour, and eventually I'm going to do a spin-off show with one of my buddies where we just discuss all the Oscar movies and maybe rank them or something like that.
Right on. Yeah, and like I said, I also watched Jojo Rabbit. I fucking loved it. I haven't listened to your Little Women reaction, but I think I'm just going to listen to that without watching the movie because I'm really curious. But you kind of answered. You're not the target audience, obviously, but
it's good.
It's Greta Gerwig. She did, Lady Bird the year before. That was also nominated for Best Picture. Everything she does just becomes best.
What's her name's in it?
Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse Ronan.
I don't know how you say it.
Emma Watson.
I love Emma Watson. Oh, yeah, that's right. She's in that, too. She's great.
Laura Dern is in it.
Laura Dern won the fucking Oscar. Yeah.
And new Black Widow girl.
Florence Pugh is in that, too.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to wait to see her till who knows when in the Black Widow. But, listener, you can find all that at jockandnerd.com/Patreon. You get bonus audio, bonus content. Go there, click it, check it out. Let's get to our movie review. We are doing, get this, listener, Godzilla versus Hedorah. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Or the Smog Monster.
Also called Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. Here is your spoiler alert. I got a little special mix right here.
Run! It's Godzilla!
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
Nailed it. This is, if you've been listening, we do a lot of Patreon requested, Patreon sponsored movie reviews. We probably will not have a lot of new movie reviews. We could do Bloodshot now. It'll be out March 24th. Watch that shitty movie and review it.
Yeah, let's do it.
We pay for it one time. Everybody can watch it. Great. Perfect. But I wanted to do something different and to have each of us pick a movie for everyone else. Last week, was that last week? 2 weeks ago? I had picked True Romance. No, that was last week? No, it was 2 weeks ago. True Romance, everyone watched it. And this week was the Jock's pick, Anthony. And why did you pick this particular Godzilla movie for the review?
Yeah, I don't know really. I wanted to pick a Godzilla film just because I wanted to make you watch something you hadn't seen.
Yes.
And Godzilla was a big part of my childhood.
Yeah.
Why this particular film? So this particular film, as a child, I had so much trouble finding a copy of this film to watch. For me, I felt like it was never on TV.
It's like the Holy Grail.
Every time I went to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, it was never there. I'd seen so many previews for it, so many trailers for it, because I had these VHSs, which were just trailers of every monster movie that, like the US was, or Japan was producing. So I really wanted to see this movie. It's a cool looking monster. So I saw it when I finally saw it as a kid. I don't remember how old I was. I was probably under 12 years old.
Okay.
I thought it was the greatest movie ever.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've seen it since then.
Oh, wow.
So I've only maybe seen it prior to watching it for this review, maybe once or twice.
I want to say shout out to Fiddlesticks Winterbottom for sending us the links. All these Godzilla movies apparently are on archive.org. You can watch them for free. I will have a link in the show notes if you want to watch it. Follow along.
So adding on to that real quick, the reason not only did I pick this because I thought it was a great movie in my childhood, but as an adult, I haven't really sat down and watched a Showa Godzilla film in a very, very long time.
With an adult sensibility and critical eye kind of thing.
I've watched, some of the recent stuff and all the recent movies that came out I've watched as an adult, but I haven't gone back and watched a Showa film, let alone this one, which I probably haven't seen since I was 11 years old. So I was curious to see what I would think about it as well.
I'm really glad you picked this because this is the one all you fuckers have been telling me to watch. Like, you will love this movie. And I'm excited to talk about this because I know you, Bellotti, Rug Boy, have seen this movie many, many times. This is the first time I've ever seen this movie as an adult. Let me set it up real quick. This movie came out in 1971. It's directed by Yoshimitsu Banno, and written by Banno and Takeshi Kimura, and produced by Toho Studios that makes all the Godzilla movies. This is the 11th film in the Godzilla series, and you just mentioned it is the Showa era, which spans 1954 to 1975. Bellotti, if I say anything wrong, just jump in and correct me. This is all the shit I found.
You're doing good.
And then it was released theatrically in Japan in 71, released in the U.S. under the name Godzilla vs. Smog Monster in 72 as a double feature with a movie called Frogs. So you could go see Godzilla vs. Smog Monster and Frogs. On Rotten Tomatoes, this thing has 12 reviews, giving it a 58% tomato meter score, 5.3 out of 10. Box office wise, apparently it made about 300 million yen in Japan, which in today's dollars is about $2.8 million. And obviously, you could tell the budget was not healthy. Very low. And Godzilla, Bellotti, is this right? Played by a dude named Haruo Nakajima?
Yes, that is correct. And the guy that played Hedorah is Ken Satsuma, who would go on to play Godzilla in the Heisei era Godzilla movies from 85 up until Destroyer.
Oh, and as far as
that was his first role in the Godzilla movie.
Oh, okay.
Didn't he have appendicitis during the movie or something?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say that later.
I have some production notes. And as far as the director, Yoshimitsu Banno, he worked with Akira Kurosawa, I believe. He was like an assistant. But then somebody didn't like this movie, and he never made another Godzilla movie. He got fired.
Everybody hated this movie
when it originally came out. So there's also a couple of different versions. I watched kind of two different versions. They were the same but different. There's the original, obviously, in Japanese. There is a version where the English is dubbed, but the songs are still in Japanese. And then there's a version where the English is dubbed and the songs are in English.
That's the one I saw.
It's Save the Earth. They're singing about Save the Earth.
Save the Earth.
Yeah, that's the one.
Save the Earth.
So I actually liked the one with the Japanese songs. I dug the fucking Japanese songs.
Yeah, that's the one I watched today.
Yeah, and the voiceover was, it's what you expect the voiceover to be.
That's the one I own, yes.
Yeah, that's the one that seems to be the most popular. As far as plot for this movie, Anthony, you want to do the plot? It's pretty simple and straightforward.
Yeah, basically, there's a monster that is formed because of all the pollution in the ocean and in the air that has come out of the ocean and now is terrorizing Japan, and Godzilla is here to save the day. That's it.
So let me start with my opening thoughts, since I'm the only one that's never seen this movie. I've seen it for the first time at 40 flurf. I don't even know how old I am.
How old are you?
I don't know. You know what? This
40 flurf.
40 flurf. This working at home shit, I have lost all concept of what fucking day is it. Anybody else going through that?
I'm dumber than I already am.
I'm like
I can't even form a sentence.
I wasn't sure it was the beginning of the week. Like, there's no concept of time anymore because of how fucking fucked up everything is. And this movie is kind of topical to what's happening right now in a way. But my initial reaction to watching this is I've kind of really fucking enjoyed this movie. What a weird, fucking trippy movie with a heavy-handed message about pollution, but the spirit of the psychedelic 60s in the movie also, with weird cartoon clips and just trippy visuals and some fun kaiju battle. I really enjoyed it. Like it was very unexpected.
So you liked it?
I did like this movie. It's great. It seemed very different. It seemed to mirror kind of the original Godzilla, in the sense that was a message about nuclear war and what we're doing to each other and the world. And this is similar.
I was going to point that out. Yeah.
So I feel like it's like, Anthony, you said you were 12. I feel like it's important to find out, how old were you when you watched this movie? Bellotti, how old were you when you first saw this movie?
That's a really good question. One of the earliest memories I have of watching a Godzilla movie is this one.
Oh, wow.
I think I was either 10 or 12, or it was that I remember I saw it once, kind of like Anthony did, and then I found a video copy of it at the local video store, so I had it on tape, and then it disappeared. But I had it forever, and then it just disappeared. I think the company that had it just went out of print, and it didn't come back. It just one day in the 90s, it appeared on the Sci-Fi Channel. I don't know if you guys remember this. And it appeared in it was totally restored. It was subtitled.
Oh, wow.
It was gorgeous. Yeah. Out of nowhere. And everybody freaked out. And now it's just got released with the Criterion Collection. So that's how you can get it now if you want to pick it up.
There is a DVD available, which I have. And it came out by itself.
Yeah, if you can get it.
It's not in any they had these big box sets.
Right.
And it was always absent from those. So you could get a Showa box set, and that would be missing.
Right.
And and Destroy All Monsters would be missing.
That was the other one. Yeah, that was that was the big holy grail one for me, was Destroy All Monsters.
You couldn't find it anyway.
You can't find Destroy All Monsters.
And that makes sense, because as a kid, I could never see. Those were the two movies I had the most trouble tracking down and watching.
Yeah.
I saw Destroy All Monsters on TV. I remember when Godzilla lands in Tokyo and the monorail scene. Remember Amanda's in the foreground with the monorail?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember that as a kid, and then I never saw it again. And I was like, what was that fucking movie? And then I found out what it was. And then I watched it and was really let down.
I went to Tower Records. Remember Tower Records?
Of course.
Used to sell DVDs there.
Yeah.
And they had a used copy, and I didn't buy it. And I was so mad that I didn't pull the trigger.
God.
I think I was embarrassed to buy it in front of the people I was with, or something like that, because I was with a bunch of people, cool rock people,
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to buy it.
Ruggs, how old were you when you first saw this, and what does it mean to you?
Oh, my God. I don't know. I'm going to say 6 or 7.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
And it was on, the WPIX, they had, the monster movie Kung Fu Hour. They had monster movie and then a Kung Fu movie after it, and then it would be the whole afternoon would be that type of shit.
It's my whole childhood right there. That's the only two posters I do are Kung Fu movies and Godzilla movies because of that.
I mean, that's basically if you were a kid in the East Coast, the NYC area, you would see that marathon every Sunday or something.
Every weekend, I remember.
And so this one I was all about the toys that the little kid had.
Oh yeah, he had all these. He's playing with Godzilla toys.
I just remember running to my mother and saying, "I want that Godzilla, that big one that he has on the slide. I want that one." And then I would look at it and go, "Look," in the scenes where, because they go back to him playing with the slide a couple times in the movie.
Yeah.
So I was always looking at all the toys.
He's got an old. I noticed he has an Ultraman in there too.
Yeah, there was an Ultraman in there.
And there's a scene when Godzilla is fighting Hedorah at the end. Hedorah shoots him with his eye beam. And I just found this out today. I didn't even realize it. But when Godzilla puts his hand up, that was Nakajima doing the Ultraman pose.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I was like, oh fuck, that's it. That is what that was.
I have a lot of questions and a lot of observations about this movie. Let me tell you, just
I got answers
right
if you
away.
have questions.
But it's amazing, right?
Well, we didn't get into our some of the opening thoughts.
Yeah. Who else wants to go? Anthony, you said you were 12.
Well, I mean, I don't think we heard either there. Did you guys? So before we get into me, like Bellotti, Rug Boy, did you guys like this film?
Why did you
when I saw this movie, I was a kid, so I didn't really have a great amount of acumen in the film. Like, is it good or is it bad? Is it shitty? I just remember it was Godzilla, and I like the way that this Godzilla kind of looks more than some of the other ones. And I remember that Hedorah could fly and transform into different things.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I remember there was little cartoons in there.
Weird.
And that just stuck with me as like, oh, this is like not your typical Godzilla movie. This is like a little bit more for kids. This is a little bit more fun. And I remember the 70s music and the dancing and that like weird like lava lamp looking shit behind everybody.
Yeah, the pulsating liquid. I mean, it's kind of gruesome. Is it for kids? I feel like, Anthony, how is this different than the other Godzilla movies leading up to this?
Well, I mean, it is a little more violent in a Godzilla type way. A lot
of carnage.
But it also is very heavy-handed with the message, so it's a kind of a weird mix of tone.
But it's bloodless.
Yeah, it is bloodless.
It is
like,
bloodless.
I remember when I was a kid and I used to see blood, I would freak out.
Yeah.
Like, I think in like King Kong Saves the World or whatever, or King Kong Escapes, there's blood in that one.
Oh, yeah. There's blood in some Godzilla, like Godzilla vs. Gigan. He gets like a cut on his nose because Gigan rips him apart.
Remember Mechagodzilla?
Or the people are bleeding.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there's blood. Like when people would bleed, I would freak out when I was a kid.
Well, this one is more. I think this movie is very dark, and the only scene in this movie that hurts it for me is Godzilla flying, which was the director felt the movie was very dark.
Yo, that shit was hilarious.
It's hilarious, but the director was like,
so bad.
But he wanted to add some sort of levity or something that was a little humorous into it because the whole movie is dark. There's a scene where they have all these talking heads on TV, and there's a baby buried in pollution.
Yes.
And then and it was a real baby. And then there was another scene where the sludge comes down the stairs of the club they're in, and when it comes back, there's a cat covered in
why
sludge.
did the fucking cat die? What is this bullshit?
Oh yeah, I saw that. I remember
that was very
yeah.
strange.
was terrible.
I think it's hilarious when Hedorah flies over and misses everyone. The decomposing, like they dry out, but then they're like super white, clean skeletons. Like it's almost cartoony.
It's kind of horrifying, and
but it is also horrifying. The flying. Is this the first time Godzilla flew in a movie?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only time I think.
You know what? How he's going to catch up with him?
Listen, if you're a little kid, you don't question it. You're just like, fucking thing is flying.
So you want to hear a funny story about the flying?
Yes.
Basically the godfather of the Godzilla series, Tomoyuki Tanaka, was in the hospital for this entire production. So he had no idea what was going on. So when he came out and he saw that scene in that movie, he said that guy is never, ever making another Godzilla movie. He actually had the famed Godzilla director, Shiro Honda, look over the movie.
That's why Bano he got fired afterwards or did not make another movie.
He wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
But what's ironic is that he ended up producing the legendary Godzilla movies.
Oh.
He wanted to make a sequel to this called Godzilla vs. Deathla. And he wanted to make another movie called Godzilla 3D to the Max, where Godzilla's in Africa.
Yeah, I read that.
And he took it he wanted to make this movie, and then eventually it manifested it. I don't know the whole story. I always forget. But it turned into the legendary movie because he approached Hollywood about it, and they, it turned into
that
what we
turned
have
into
now.
the 2014 movie. Huh.
Which is I don't know if it's a good thing or I think it's a bad thing, but I'm not really a big fan of the legendary movies. But anyway, that's how it started because of that guy. The guy that made the most polarizing Godzilla movie is why we have the legendary movies.
Well, here, let me jump in real quick because I want to just get in my opening thoughts, and I'm curious to see what you guys both, Bellotti and Ruggs, think of it now. So, obviously, I mentioned I saw it as a kid and loved it. Had no concept of anything. Watching it as an adult is a very, very different experience.
Yes, so weird.
The fight scenes are still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It is a tough, to me, kind of a watch to go through again. I do enjoy aspects of it, but there are points where I'm like, let's just get to the fight scenes. Some of the fight scenes are kind of dark, like Bellotti had mentioned.
Yeah.
there's a weird thing that Godzilla keeps doing where he keeps rubbing his nose.
Yeah, why does he wipe his mouth and then like wave his arm? What is this?
I think
he's just he was just doing a lot more human-like behaviors.
Yeah. I think he was like, I guess because it smells bad.
Oh, I was like, why does he keep doing that? What the fuck is that?
Hedorah, though, is a cool looking monster in my opinion.
Yeah, great design.
The scene with him just smoking the fucking out of the stacks.
I love that. He's getting high off the pollution.
I mean, it is a disturbing looking scene.
Yeah.
Him just sitting there smoking. So
yeah,
there is entertainment value there, but it is, I will say, quite a different experience watching it as an adult, and something where I'm glad I saw it as a kid and could enjoy it then. If that was my first movie as an adult, I'd be entertained, but I wouldn't have had the reverence for it that I had as a kid.
I still think you can appreciate this on a B movie level. Like, it's a Godzilla movie. It's quite a good B movie. Like, the miniatures are pretty cool. Some of the compositing is not bad.
There is one shot though where they look at his arms and you can tell the costume is like deteriorated.
And sometimes his wounds change sides. Like sometimes he
gotta, the thing is too, this movie was made for the Champion Matsuri Festival, which was going on in Japan, because they were done with Godzilla movies after Godzilla's Revenge. And they realized they were packaging Godzilla films for this festival, and they said, why don't we just make new movies for this festival? This is the one they went in there with, and then they followed with Megalon and Gigan and so on and so forth. But this movie, to me, like revisiting it, I think it's as powerful as the 54 in terms of message. And I think a lot of the Showa films were just sort of spectacle after 54, except for like Mothra vs. Godzilla, that was about capitalism, and King Kong vs. Godzilla was about like corporate greed and stuff like that. But this movie was so dark and so serious. And when I watch it now, I see all the themes and I really appreciate it because it has what I love about Godzilla, where I either like when Godzilla is like our punishment, or I like when he's a part of a bigger story that's not really centered on him. And like watching this movie now, all I can think about is, man, I wish the budget was bigger.
Yeah.
Because there's so many scenes that could have been just much better. Like if they were fighting in a city, if there were bigger crowds running in the street. Because there's one scene where Hedorah is attacking and there's just a kid on the street. And I'm like, where are the people?
Yeah.
Or the construction worker that falls off the building. There's like one construction worker on this entire building. That's kind of weird.
And then like the building collapses in silence. There's some weird music editing, weird music
It's basically an experimental art film with Godzilla.
It seems, think about it. Yeah, it seems, that's a great way to put it. It seems like an avant-garde art. It's almost documentary style with those, the animated clips kind of showing you what the next chapter is about. They're like chapter headers.
But I think that's why, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think that's why a lot of
Cut him
fans...
off anytime.
Do it. Yes.
Yeah, please do. But I think that's why a lot of fans have a hard time with this movie, because they just want like big monster, bang, bang, boom, boom. And this movie doesn't really give you that.
Get
it makes
three
you think
battles, though. There's three good battles.
You get the battles and you get the goofy shit, but you also get a very heavy-handed message in it as well.
Yeah, I mean, the heavy-handed message, I think, worked for me as a kid. Because,
absolutely,
did you start recycling after this?
Pollution's bad.
Yeah.
Okay, I get
Let's
it.
recycle.
And Godzilla's the good guy, and the smog monster's obviously bad. And for me, I was entertained as a child because, this monster is in the water. They do a little Jawsy thing, and then all of a sudden he's out, and then he can fly. So it's a lot of variety. All right.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of variety. You got a lot of fight scenes. You got a really easy story that like a little kid can follow. Cause some of the Godzilla stories, I couldn't figure out what the fuck was going on. I just wanted to see the monsters fight. But this one I remember knowing what it was about.
Yeah.
Cause there really isn't nothing, there really isn't really anything. It's like we pollute the earth and then at some point they say something about, and they totally put this in later. Like this whole thing, they're looking at planets. And it's all a voiceover because, they slapped this on later to try and make sense out of, no one explained why Hedorah came
It's
from.
Hedorium. It's an alien element. Hedorium, right? Wasn't it? Isn't that what it was?
The story is that he's like an alien tadpole that lands in this pollution and grows.
The shots of sludge in the beginning, there's a mannequin in the sludge. They constantly come back to this. And I believe some of it, the guy who wrote it and the director saw sludge in Japan and kind of gave him this idea.
There was a whole backstory.
Like all that shit, all that imagery, as much as you want to say this movie is shitty,
powerful.
It did stick with me for years.
There's substance.
Absolutely.
So there's something to say about that you can create an image that's going to be that enduring
it's
in your mind.
Hedorah was also scary. I remember when I was a kid, that scene where he crashes into the freighters, and you see his head in the water.
On
That
the
scared
TV,
me when I was a kid.
Absolutely.
Or when the father sees him underwater, those eyes are terrifying.
That, I mean, even when the kid's on the rock and he's like, oh my god, like there he is right there, and he jumps out of the water.
He jumps out, yeah.
That's weirdly edited though.
Yes!
He jumps out
and he holds the knife up.
Well, he holds a knife up and then jumps out, and then the next thing you see is that Hedorah is back in the water going the opposite direction.
So this is what happens. He jumps out.
There's so many bad cuts in this movie. I can point them out.
There's a close-up of him slicing his body, and then you hear a splash, and then so what? He just turned around in the air and fucking went back in the water? What the fuck is... I love the beginning of this movie. I love meeting the human characters. You know, you have the scientist, how he figures out the tadpole. I love the kid going, Papa, it's a tadpole.
I like that he's wearing short shorts.
I love the old man who's like, I brought this weird fish. I don't know what it is. I thought maybe you could figure it out.
Do everybody in the movie.
It's so great. And then I love the fucking guy in the disco. He's hallucinating. He sees fish heads and he freaks out.
Yeah.
I love it when they're talking about the forms of Ghidorah and they're both drinking Tang.
Drinking Tang? I mean, I love the different
Didn't
forms.
that stand out to you? You're like, look at how orange those drinks
shit
are.
is orange. I love that there was different versions of this, of
Wow,
Hedorah.
everyone really enjoyed it. I knew you would like this.
It was so fucking weird.
I enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
It's a shitty movie, but I enjoyed it a lot of aspects of it. Like, there's things that I don't like as far as some of the cuts. Like, there's that one scene where Godzilla, for some reason, falls into a grave that's been dug out.
Yeah.
And then Hedorah,
where he diarrhea's all over him.
Hedorah, just shits all over him, like diarrhea.
Yes, he's getting buried.
And then they just cut to them rolling down the side of the mountain.
I forgot that happened. I remember watching that, and I'm like, wait, he was basically KO'd in that crater, and now they're both just rolling down the hill.
Rolling down the fucking mountain.
Yeah, I'm like, there's some fuckery going on with this. Like, they just edited that shit.
Yeah, something was cut out that we didn't see.
Yeah.
I love the 70s rock, like guitar music, but I also love when it just suddenly cuts out and changes to something else abruptly. There's like no transition.
Very 70s.
They all decide to go to the top of Mount Fuji and just dance in the middle of the thing.
And then all
but they are doing what the fucking Spring Breakers are doing now.
Yes, they're doing exactly
There's a scene just like the Florida Spring. They're like, fuck it, Hedorah's here. We're gonna go party. Hedorah shows up, kills all of them except for Ken and his mom. Somehow the mom is super invulnerable to anything he spits out, but he kills everybody else.
Bellotti, I know Ruggs just said he still enjoys it. Do you still enjoy it as an adult?
I do. I find that it's in my top 5 for the show era.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I do enjoy it.
What I noticed,
I don't think it's the best movie, but I do enjoy it. I don't know why I can't stop enjoying it.
Because it's simple, it's good, and it's good and evil.
The monster design.
The monster's
really
incredible,
cool.
and that concept of the different stages that started everything in Japan. That started the whole the evolving creature idea.
Yeah.
What I noticed though, only 3 of us have seen Gamera 2. When I watched this recently, because I haven't watched this in years, and then I watched it for the first time, I think like a year ago, and I noticed it was very, very similar to Gamera 2. If you watch the whole, an alien comes, it gets bigger, it's evolving, it's growing, it's going to take over. Godzilla has to team up with the military to stop it, and Gamera 2, it's alien lands, it grows, it's evolving, it's going to take over. Gamera has to team up with the military to stop it. I'm like, wow.
You know what else? It's this Godzilla versus Destroya. It's the same thing where it's the Precambrian little creature, it evolves,
right?
And there's different forms, and it gets together.
But see, the thing with Destroyer was that that was the end of Godzilla.
Right.
What I noticed is that at the end when Godzilla. So basically, for those that don't know, the military makes these giant electrodes to sort of dry out Hedorah with like this electrical beam, but it doesn't work. So Godzilla drags Hedorah over there, blows the radiation into it, and it works and it kills Hedorah. And at the end, Godzilla looks at the military, he looks at the people, and he gives a look of like, I fucking did this for you guys, but you do it again, I'm gonna kick your ass next time, right?
Godzilla saves the day.
So he saves the day. So in Gamera 2, at the end of that, he blows up Legion. He uses the Earth's energy. He goes through hell and back to stop this thing. He stops and he looks at the military again. And instead of them getting scared, half of them salute him, and then Gamera flies off. And I'm like, oh, that's such a cool little nod to Hedorah. Because that's my favorite part of Gamera 2 is when they give the guy respect.
But what are the white balls?
Yes,
damn
this
it?
is my question.
So those are supposed to be his eyes. I thought they were like.
Are they though? Really?
That's what.
There was no eyeballs on the fucking thing.
It's supposed to be.
They do a really bad cut because the Hedorah is basically a husk, and then he starts to fly away again.
Yeah, so he thinks
he has eyes.
You
again.
think he's got him down with the electrodes. He pulls out these two orbs, but his eyes are red. You don't see any eyeballs. But Hedorah's not done. This is where Godzilla flies. And for anybody, you've probably seen this gif of Godzilla standing up with his tail curled and his breath propelling him backwards. The most inefficient way to fly. I don't know why they just didn't have him just fucking fly normal, belly down. But he catches up with him.
He's got no propulsion system unless he flies backwards.
He's got you know what I noticed about that scene when he fries him and then he comes out and Hedorah flies.
Yeah.
If you noticed, remember Godzilla grabs him by the tail and slams him on the ground repeatedly.
Yep. Yeah, that was great.
That was the costume from earlier in the movie. So I think because he grows. Remember, he gets bigger than Godzilla.
He's huge. Yeah, he's bigger.
I think Godzilla fries him in the movie. I think was what they were doing. And that's kind of like a second skin almost.
Yeah, right.
And then he's like this smaller size, and then Godzilla is able to catch him and slam him.
It's great battles because Godzilla gets his ass kicked a lot.
It's my favorite fight from the Showa era.
And also, like when you first see the final form of Hedorah, where he's silver, like he's clearly spray painted silver. I love that version of the suit, and the miniatures actually look pretty good. Like I didn't think they were that bad for B Godzilla.
There is one thing I noticed about the miniatures.
Yeah.
Where they are, they're flashing the bright lights with those little cars.
Toy cars. Yes.
Well, they're certainly toy cars.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's not how that would work. They would only be able to brighten up like the bottom of his feet.
Yeah, he's getting. Oh, that's a good point. Yes,
they
he's
keep
all
showing
lit up.
Hedorah's face brightening every time the car light flashes.
Hedorah shows up at Mount Fuji. They're throwing their torches at him. And they're like hitting him.
What is this going to do?
Up in his face. Yeah. Who's got the throw power?
You know what was cool about that scene, though? You don't really, in the Showa era, you don't really see the monsters interacting with people that much.
Right.
And he sees them, and he shoots his fucking sludge balls.
I love when he
them.
spits shit at everyone. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then there's that weird scene in the middle with the talking heads and the news and the TV screens and it repeats and it turns into colors.
It's very trippy.
Like what the fuck is going on here?
It's very trippy.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, those are the scenes that I think put a lot of people off.
I was going to say, this is the type of movie, I had recommended this to you, Imran, before you were going to watch it years ago.
Yes,
it's like, this is the type of movie you get like really stoned or you do your favorite psychedelic and you just watch this
absolutely.
This movie.
This movie.
But it's again, like I said, when I watch it now, it hurts because they talk about stuff that they do in the movie that they couldn't show because of the budget.
Yeah.
Like there's if you notice, there's no military stuff in the movie. There's no military attack. But they say they were attacking him and the bombs and missiles went right through him. So they told you about it, but they didn't show it. Yeah,
I love
there's a lot of things.
The military was literally they're just standing. There's like 12 fuckers just standing there the whole time doing nothing at the end. It's great.
I tried.
And the costume's great. Like you can kind of see where the guy is, but it is bigger than the other Godzilla costume. Here's another question, Bellotti. Maybe you could shed some light on this. There's a lot of scenes where there's fire really close to him and smoke. And I'm like, how much of this is acting versus how much of this is the guy going, holy shit, that's too much smoke. I can't see. You guys, you got to put the fire out. This shit is drowning me. This is not good. Like some of it doesn't seem like actual acting.
Well, it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. It's because I read that's the third time that suit was used in a movie. And then the next time it started falling apart.
Same suit from, it's the same suit from Destroy Monsters and another. What's the other one?
Gigan and Godzilla's Revenge. It's the most used suit out of all the Godzilla
It's real
movies.
fucking beat. Like that shot where he looks down at his hands. I'm like, oh god, his fingers. This doesn't look good. The suit's falling apart.
By the time of Gigan, there's one scene after Gigan beats his. Remember he's hitting his head and he wakes up. When Godzilla sticks his arms out, you can see the latex of the costume just sort of hanging off of him. Dangling.
I do love at the end when he finally kills him. He's just fucking ripping pieces of him and throwing them.
Oh yeah, he's unusually he is unusually brutal to his enemy in this one.
He stomps him down.
He stomps him down,
and then he goes and does the breath again just to make sure that shit turns to dust.
Yeah, he's like,
he's got a lot of personality in this movie.
Yeah. He's got one fucked up eye, and so does Hedorah at the end.
They both have fucked up eyes. Yeah.
But
He takes his eye out.
I do. I kind of, the design is so fucking trippy. The eyes are sideways. It's fucking great.
Well, the thing like about Hedorah that made me really enjoy him as a kid, and even now as an adult, is like he is actually, he's the amalgamation of pollution, but he's very like. At times he seems almost invincible, right? Like he keeps growing.
Yeah.
Every time Godzilla sticks his arm through him, it's like doesn't have an effect.
Doesn't do anything.
He's not made of any earth elements.
Yeah.
So they don't know how to kill him. And he can transform so he can fly.
He's outmatched.
Godzilla is like completely outmatched at certain points.
Yeah.
And then Godzilla only has one eye through like the rest of the movie too.
And that's why I love it, because he's so outmatched in this movie, and he has to team up with basically the army.
Right.
Because think about it, if they didn't make those electrodes, how would he have won? It just would have been a running battle.
Right.
The one thing I don't like about this movie, if I have to put a negative criticism, is the Godzilla music in this.
The horns?
Like
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like that it's good for little kids, but like I love so many other musical themes that they do other than this one. This is my least favorite.
Oh, there's better ones.
But let me ask you this though. That music in the movie, because all the music in this movie is fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
It's all
right.
Can you imagine putting one of his classic themes in that movie? Like, I'd love to see somebody that did a cut with like the classic Godzilla, the classic Godzilla theme.
I mean, I think that there are themes that Godzilla in the Godzilla lexicon that maybe not like the classic stuff, but maybe something that we can use that's better than this.
Yeah, I don't like the trumpet. Like,
that made it more eerie and weird for me.
Well, they went for more. They didn't have
the Hedorah music was really good.
Yeah,
and
it was,
eerie.
but they didn't have a Fukube to do this, so they went with. I forgot to do the music in this one, but he has. I know they were trying to make more of like a superhero Godzilla in this, like ecological defender, which is funny because he's pure radiation and now he's defending the world against pollution.
Yeah,
what's worse?
I'm not really that familiar with like the intricacies of all the different Godzilla music that there is. I just know that there's Heisei era, and that's different than the Showa era. But the beginning of the Showa era, like the original stuff, is really good. And then All
right, I'll break it down. The maestro is Akira Ufukube. He did the music from the first Godzilla up until Terra Mecha Godzilla. There was a few he didn't do. Any of the movies that Honda didn't direct, he didn't do. Sometimes they used canned music because they didn't feel like paying him. And then they made Godzilla 84, different composer. Then they made Godzilla vs. Biollante. And Ufukube was like, I'm not going back. And his daughter was like, they're using your music and making it like disco music, right? And he's like, really? He came back and scored the rest of the Heisei era. And the last movie he did was Destroyer. And he pretty much just recycled his score for these movies. But the Godzilla, he did one for Terra Mecha Godzilla where, it's the Enter Godzilla theme, but it's more of like a heroic theme, which is I think would have worked better for this. But he is the father of Godzilla music. All the famous Godzilla themes was Akira Fukube.
Yeah, I mean, the Terra Mecha Godzilla has great music. I remember that.
And that was him too. And that's I think
Terra Mecha Godzilla is awesome.
Yeah, that's a classic.
For what it's worth, the scene where Godzilla first appears in the shadows is one of the greatest.
Oh my god,
greatest
city?
Godzilla appearances ever.
And Titanosaurus is my favorite kaiju design.
If you had, what's your favorite part of this movie, you guys? If you had to pick, Anthony,
what's my a moment?
Yes,
or
one favorite moment in this movie. Your most favorite.
I mean, I think my most favorite moment, besides like just the overall fight scenes, is the shot of him smoking the smokestacks.
Yeah.
Like
that's iconic.
Yeah,
it's iconic, and it's so creepy even to this day that this monster gets out of the water and is just huffing up on pollution, and you're just sitting there like, and with the red eyes, the giant red eyes really make this monster what it is. So that's my most iconic thing from this movie.
Ruggs, favorite moment of the movie.
Oh, when he's swinging them around.
Also,
that's so awesome.
Yeah, from the by the tail.
I light up all the time. Yeah.
And then those people, their fucking domino game they all die when they're playing dominoes, and like he throws them, and then
and the shit,
and the shit hits there's just shit flying everywhere. Bellotti, favorite moment from this movie.
Favorite moment.
Yeah.
I always go back to the scene where Godzilla is looking at the humans at the end. With that look on him, because he has the one eye and he looks down and he tilts his head because he can only see from the one eye.
Yeah.
That to me, that's the scene I like the most. Oh, I always like the scene. I like when he's in the water and he's like destroying all the pollution. It was pretty cool.
That's a dream sequence, right?
That's a dream sequence.
Yeah, the kid is like, Godzilla's coming, Dad. He'll take care of it.
Yeah.
It's a tadpole. I know you guys think about the flying, but when he did that, I was like,
oh, shit.
Oh, snap. Look at him go. He's going to get him. That's not like, I'll remember
It's so
that.
bad.
It's
so
like,
bad.
there's
It's
so
awesome.
many things in this movie you can tell is so bad. Like, there's when he's walking and he's the first time he walks on screen.
Yeah. He just shows up out of nowhere.
You can see the background, the backdrops, like the seams of where they put the pieces together for the sky.
Yeah.
You can see all that shit in this movie. You can see a lot of the wires.
Well, you can see at the last scene where he walks off into like the distance, you could see the end of the backdrop.
Oh, you can?
There's no depth whatsoever. I was like, why did they shoot it like that?
Some of the compositing is not bad, though, where there's the live action on the bottom.
Considering
for the
this
70s?
was the 70s, you got to remember, this is the 70s.
This is low budget for a Godzilla movie.
It's low budget. Remember, there was an oil crisis in the 70s, and the film industry in Japan was tanking because of TV, because of Ultraman.
Yeah.
You know, Ultraman started this whole, like, why do you have to go to the movies to see monsters when you can watch it at home? So they didn't have the budgets like they do now. And that's what always kills me. It's like, man, if this movie had the budget, you'd see the United Nations, you'd see rooms of scientists,
But you know
military
what?
people.
This is why I kind of like this better than Shin Godzilla, because there was none of that bullshit fucking conference table meeting scenes. It was just the people were there to move the fucking plot, and there's 3 big Godzilla battles, and there was a lot of Godzilla and Hedorah, which I liked.
Well, it's two different concepts altogether.
Yeah.
Shin Godzilla, to me, I noticed I started appreciating the movie now with the president's response to this pandemic.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is very Shin
very
Godzilla.
true. And this movie's kind of topical now in terms of a fucking virus creates a monster. We need Godzilla.
I'll say, I think I mentioned it earlier, but I will say that I actually appreciate this movie less as an adult.
Yours went down.
It went down.
Sorry.
It did go down for me. I'm sorry, but it did.
I mean, if I was a kid, I would fucking eat this up too.
But I still remember as a kid, and that doesn't change.
Have you appreciated any of these more since you've been an adult? Has there been one?
Oh, the original Godzilla is the one that's grown. I mean, obviously, like that one is the one where I'm like, that has stood the test of time, and I appreciated this.
I realized as I got older, because I never liked that as a kid, because it's in black and white.
Right.
It's Raymond Burr. And then when I saw, and there's no other monster, but when I saw it as an adult in Japanese, I said, this movie's a fucking masterpiece.
That one I've appreciated more. 85, I appreciate
85,
more.
yeah, that's another one. That's a really good one.
Really good. And like the ones where I'm like, as a kid, I was like, he's not fighting anyone. This sucks.
Yeah.
Like I literally, as a kid, I thought when I first saw the preview to Godzilla, the original, I'm like, he's fighting a man with a beard. What's going on?
Yeah.
This is the bad guy?
85. That's what it was 85. I was like,
85.
he's fighting Raymond Burr. How's that going to work?
Jeez. I have some production notes, some of which Bellotti has alluded to also already. Bono was given only 35 days to shoot this film with a really low budget, and he only had one team available to shoot both the drama scenes and the monster effects scenes. Usually, right, Bellotti, there'd be two
scenes, yeah,
two different
departments.
teams, like a B team and an A team. They guys do the people stuff, these guys do the monster stuff. Nope.
Yep.
He had to do everything himself. So, Ruggs, like you mentioned, Kenpachiro Satsuma, the actor who played Hedorah, was struck with appendicitis during the production. Doctors forced to perform appendectomy while he was still wearing the fucking suit.
Oh, shit.
Due to the length of time it took to take the goddamn thing off. During the operation, Satsuma learned that painkillers had no effect on him. Oh, that's a shitty time to find that out. Fuck. He's like, take it out. And then you mentioned, yes, there was going to be a sequel and it got scrapped and it turned into what it did. Wow, just fucking fun. I love the pick, Anthony. Great trippy movie. So let's rate it and rank it, Anthony. Give me a number and where you would, if you can rank it. I don't know. I forget how many fucking Godzilla movies there are.
Okay, I got 2 rankings.
Okay.
I got my kid ranking. And I got my now as an adult.
Got it. Makes sense.
Kid ranking 10 out of 10.
Oh shit.
Greatest movie. As a kid, I always loved creative villains that were bigger than Godzilla, and Godzilla was outmatched and he had to find a way to win. As an adult, Godzilla movies have to be graded on a curved scale. That you can't like rank these.
Oh yeah.
Especially a lot of these Showa ones. You can't just like compare this to even like Jojo Rabbit or like you can't.
Yes.
It's just not the same thing.
No.
As an adult, I'm going to go 5 out of 10.
Okay.
5 out of 10. It's good. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change that. 6 out of 10.
All
it's
right.
better than good.
Okay.
But it's not like it's still very memorable. But it's not like like it's not going to be the best out of all the Godzilla films, at least for me.
Yeah.
But it is very memorable, and the villain is good.
Rugs, give me a rating. What would you rate it? Where would you put it?
Wow. I mean, my kid rating is also like, it's up there. If I'm looking at it as a little child, it's like, it's a perfectly digestible, not really complicated, simple to the point, fun Godzilla film with lots of Godzilla in it with bad music, but like it's got trippy shit. It's visual. So all that stuff for a little kid is great.
Yeah.
So it's a 10 for a kid. For an actual grown up man that's trying to recommend if a regular other grown up person is going to watch it, I'm going to hedge my bet and give it like a 6.5 in that way, because yes, there is a lot missing in this film. There's a lot of weird cuts that are weird and you don't understand. There's parts where Godzilla and Hedorah are just kind of staring at each other.
Like,
and not
what's
doing
going
much.
on here?
But like, that might throw people off. The message being heavy-handed might throw people off. So I'm considering that. So it's better than average. It's definitely good, and I still enjoy it. Like, I mean, I know that it's a bad movie that I love.
Yeah.
So, but by no means am I going to give it like a 10, because there's Godzilla movies I like more than this.
Okay.
So, but it's still up there, as far as enjoyable.
Bellotti, we already kind of know what you think about this movie. We'll give it a number. Where would you put it?
You want I'll do the kid.
Yeah, do both.
I have like 10 lists I could put this movie on and rate. No, kid list, you know what's funny? The kid list is, let's say, like a 7.
Really?
Yeah, because it scared me as a kid. I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I'll give it an 8.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, because I got it. When I got older, I got it. I understood. And I like the message. And I like that it's dark and serious and, well, not totally serious.
I
but
think it gets a bad rap, and I think it's actually pretty fun. So
yeah,
it's much better than Gigan. It's much better than Megalon in a lot of ways.
I'd have to rewatch. I remember as a kid loving Gigan, so I'd have to rewatch.
It's
that.
tough.
Maybe not.
I had it on today after this, and that's a hard one to get through.
That's where they talk to one another, right?
Yeah,
they talk. What the fuck?
Oh shit! Maybe that's the next one you review. That's a tough one.
Damn. So my rating, as the first time watching this as an adult, and knowing what I'm walking into, this is a Godzilla man in suit B movie. I'm leaning like a 7. I really like it. Held my attention, and it was so weird, and I didn't expect the animated scenes, and just I was like, this is a fucking crazy trippy movie. But
glad you liked
it. I had a really good time
I had
with this movie.
I had a good feeling he would like it, and not only because he just likes everything, but because this is kind of up Imran's alley.
This is the Godzilla movie that's made for him.
It really is. I'm like, this is fucking wild and perfect. And why does it keep
like it'll elicit the kid inside?
Yeah, it does. And if I saw this as a kid, I imagine I fucking loved it.
And this is probably a great movie to show your kids. I think if you have kids and you want to get them into Godzilla, this is the one to show.
I like that it's just scary enough for kids that it will freak you out a little, but it's still harmless.
I would preface it by this is if I have a kid. I might have a kid out there that I don't know about. But if I have one that I'm training to like Godzilla, what I would do with this movie is I would show my kid some other Godzilla movies first, where they're like not as dark, and build up to this one.
Yeah,
where I build to this one, and then this
Which
one.
So you talk about like Son of Godzilla.
I would probably do like Son of Godzilla, Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster,
and Godzilla's Revenge.
Yeah, like those are Godzilla, even like Godzilla versus Megalon, where it's like these movies where they're a little more kiddie, and then I would throw in this one and be like, now this Hedorah one, I have to talk to you about. It's a little dark.
It's a little.
Hedorah is a big fucking boss in this one. Like this Godzilla is really up against it in this one.
You want to know why I love this movie? What makes it so good is because out of almost all the Godzilla movies, I think it's one of the most original and creative concepts they ever had.
Yeah.
And if you look at the movies after this, it's just like, oh, nuclear testing woke up the Cetopians and they're sending Megalon, or it's a robot Godzilla. And even the early Showa movies, he fights a giant crab. How original. I mean, this is just like, you don't know where it's going. Hedorah is legitimately dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, you feel that he's dangerous.
Yeah.
And he
Right.
could literally take over the world.
Was
if they
there
don't
ever
do
any
something.
thought on during the Heisei era of bringing back Hedorah, or if they ever talked about it, or
No,
has
I
this
think
been just a one-time thing?
It was only Bono. He was trying to do Deathla, which was a sequel. Because I don't know if we didn't mention this, but at the end of this movie, another Hedorah appears. Did you see that?
Oh, wait a minute.
In that second
That's
version,
right.
you know the version that has the Japanese version of the song in the beginning?
I didn't see that.
At the end of that, they cut back to the ocean, the polluted ocean, and Hedorah's head comes out, and it says, and yet another one with a question mark.
Huh.
So Bono was the only one that wanted to do it, but then Hedorah came back in Final Wars for like 2 seconds. Like, Godzilla blew him away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he
I
was
was
in Final
wondering
Wars.
if you had seen this guy again.
Yeah, you see him. They redesigned him, and Godzilla blasts him out of the ocean. Then he blasts him into a building, and then he explodes, and that's it.
I forget. In Final Wars, does Hedorah show up?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry.
But he's in for like 2 seconds.
So now, having been to all the G-Fest, the toys of the Smog Monster suddenly make a lot of sense. Like that,
Let
it's
me tell
everywhere.
you something. Let me tell you something. Hedorah has his own Facebook page.
Oh my God.
His own toy page.
Holy shit.
I've never in the history of being a Godzilla fan have seen a kaiju more mass produced outside of Godzilla than Hedorah.
You haven't done a Hedorah piece on Robo7.com, have you?
Actually, that's the first poster I ever did.
Oh.
Back in 2014. And that one got published in Monster Attack Team magazine.
1914?
1914.
It's before the Spanish flu.
Back
I was
in 14.
I was a doughboy fighting a crowd on the German front. All quiet on the Western front, but I made a Godzilla poster for an IP that doesn't exist yet.
Wait, so you don't have it up anymore? You should do a new one.
I retired it because I want to make a new one with the fucking fish heads and
Yeah,
the
the fish heads. What was with the why was that dude tripping?
Because it's the 70s and you
He's
take
just
acid.
stressed out. Did you appreciate the girl dancing with the clam on her cooch right in front of him?
Yes,
noticed that.
that's why I did the poster, because I wanted to draw her.
Okay.
And I drew her, and I'm going to put her on a new poster.
She had a weird fucking one-piece bodysuit on with a clam on her coochie. I noticed that right away.
Yeah, it's an awesome suit, and she's really pretty.
Yes, she was.
Girls is pretty.
I was watching Son of Godzilla, and the girl in that's swimming in the water is pretty cute.
She's pretty cute. My favorite is the princess from Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster.
Oh.
And Katsura is pretty hot.
I don't remember any of the girls other than in the Heisei era. Mimi?
Oh,
Was it
Mickey.
Mimi? Mickey, yeah.
You know how I know this? I bought 2 Toho books that have all the women from all the Toho movies.
I bet you did.
Instead of buying Playboys, he bought that.
I bet those pages are sticky.
Oh, shit.
Yes, as I whack off to the girl from Atragon.
So, Anthony, great pick. Thank you. So, like I said before, I was hoping you'd pick a Godzilla movie. You did not disappoint.
If you're a kid at a heart, like, I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's for the little kid inside.
Next, Ruggs, is your turn to pick a movie. Do you know what you're going to pick?
God damn it. Like, I had so many up there, but I figured, and I know that you've seen this, Imran.
It's fine. If one of us hasn't seen it, great.
But I know Anthony hasn't seen it, and this is probably the most bizarre movie I can make him watch that he would never watch without me telling him to watch it. It's also one of my favorite films ever. It was nominated for Oscars, so I know I'm not the only one who thought it was good. But it is a hard one to digest. It is very dated. It's The Fisher King.
Yeah. I love that movie. We've mentioned it before. Robin Williams, Jeff Bridges.
I think we should talk about this movie because I don't think a lot of people do talk about it.
Next one will be Fisher King, Anthony. I will tell you where you could watch this movie.
We'll figure out a date and time.
So I love this idea. And then we will get back to the Patreon-sponsored movie reviews. If you want to have your movie reviewed listener, right now is a good time to join our Patreon. So we'll do it right away. But yeah, good stuff. Let's do some news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation.
This new Godzilla is unfriendly and is going to destroy your country. There's nothing you can do about it.
Look out. Our Facebook group, Jock and Nerd Nation, is kind of a fun place to hang out in this post-pandemic quarantine world. Everyone is trying to give solutions to what to do while you're locked in, and we've had some good ideas. Adam Morris writes some quality quarantine watching for you. Say what you will. I still love Kevin Smith, and his movies still make me laugh, so I'll be checking this one out ASAP, assuming I can stream it in Canada. That is Jay and Silent Bob Reboot on Amazon.
Oh, shit. I saw it.
I also watched it this week. I watched a lot of movies this week. I actually really enjoyed this movie. It had great cameos and callbacks to all his other movies.
There's some funny shit in it.
I like that Kevin Smith is in there and making fun of himself. Great self-deprecating humor. And it even had heart, with the storyline with Jay and the kid. And Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn Smith, she's a pretty good actress. She's better than he is, almost, in some ways. I thought she did a good job. What did you? So
that's debatable.
Did you like it?
Did you ever see Yoga Hosers?
No, I have not seen Yoga Hosers. I know everybody makes fun of that.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was awful. I still never finished it.
I kind of like that movie. I like his dumb, fucking stupid movies.
It was. Oh my god, it was tough to get.
Oh, I like that movie.
Really?
I would recommend Reboot if you have Amazon.
Isn't that the one that Eliza Dushku was in a cat suit?
Yeah, that's the one with and Shannon
That's
Elizabeth.
all you need to watch a movie.
Yeah.
Well, Shannon,
in a suit, cat suit.
Shannon Elizabeth. She's pretty.
She's in this one too.
She's pretty.
She's pretty. I knew they were wearing cat suits under there. It's fun. It's diverse. There's like a Muslim girl. There's a deaf girl. They got a great team there. I thought I was not going to like it, but it was fun. It was great kind of self-referential Kevin Smith movie. Lots of fun. Blake Braden says, so everyone is probably already losing their minds with the potential lockdown quarantine looming over our heads. I present to you a potential solution to not only hopefully create a new avenue for the nation, but also help get to know our members better through other venues other than Facebook. I present to you Netflix Party.
Oh, shit.
This is a social interaction that the group can have while watching a movie together as a nation. It's this thing. You can go to netflixparty.com. It works only on Chrome. You download this extension, and then you can set up a movie, and there's a little AOL-style chat box, a chat room right along the side. Blake did a test with The Dark Knight, and there was like one random person. I think it was a girl named Kelsey. She joined the group. We kind of turned her on to the show. But, Blake, I love that you took the lead on this, and it's just a fun way for everyone to watch a movie at once and, like, comment down the side. It's called Netflix Party.
That can be fun.
I've had a couple of friends suggest the Netflix Party too as well, but I don't know. We'll see how bored I get.
I know. It might be like there's nothing else left. Let's just watch.
You only whack off so much.
Oh, yeah, I know. You get tired. And I'm spent. And then finally, David Mosky has shared a link. He says, hi, folks. If anyone is self-isolating and looking for some comics to keep yourself entertained, you should check out this app. It's called Comic House, and it's basically Netflix for indie comics. They just tweeted that they're giving away a free month to anyone who comments on this tweet. They have loads of content. Happy to offer recommendations to people if they want. You can go to comicshouse.com/app, or I'll have the link to the tweet in the show notes. But Malofsky, who's editor and cape of A Place to Hang Your Cape, always at the forefront of promoting indie comics, of which there are tons of really good ones.
I just might read my comics.
I actually will have time to read all the stack of comic books that I have here. And I bought Bitter Root from Sanford Green at C2E2. I got to read that. I have the Paper Girls 2 trade collected editions and a bunch of other stuff, Ruggs. It's a good time to read comics.
Yeah. I might get around to that.
So I just want to thank everyone for, keeping us sane and giving us things to do. Speaking of doing things, what are you guys watching? I just mentioned I watched Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Anthony, have you watched anything with all this time you have?
Well, yeah. I mean, I talked about it on Patreon. Little Women, Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, yeah. That's what you were doing. Anything else?
Might start up. I might watch American Factory. Maybe I'll get into this altered carbon thing. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I'm a couple episodes into that.
I heard Bellotti say about to comment on American Factory.
Yeah, that's really good. And when it ends, you're just like, fuck.
Okay.
So I've been sitting at home since January with this knee thing.
Yeah, what have you been watching?
I've exhausted. The other day, I'm so desperate for movies and content. Like, I draw. I've been drawing nonstop.
That's good.
Like, this is the most productive I've ever been in my life.
That's amazing.
And I'm happy, and I kind of never want to go back to work. And so I'll put on movies when I'm drawing. I've resorted to I put on Lionheart from Van Damme like yesterday.
Oh,
today I watched Goodfellas.
Nice.
But no, there's a new series on Netflix that my wife was like, "Oh, we have to watch
Is
this."
it called Pandemic? Because there's one called Pandemic.
No, it's called Love Is Blind.
Oh,
It's a
we
reality show.
talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that last week.
We fucking binged that like crazy, and I hate reality shows, and this one just got me.
It's great trashy television. It really is.
I don't know if it's trashy.
I got sucked into that.
I got sucked into it a little bit. Yeah.
The thing is, like, they're not really trashy people.
No, that's true.
It's not like, because we watched 90 Day Fiance, and you fucking hate these people.
Yes.
It's like, you fucking idiot.
Yes.
Why do you need this person from Nigeria? Because you hate yourself.
Well, that one girl is an asshole.
Yeah.
Big time.
Oh, the girl Jessica?
Yeah.
She's tragic. She's a tragic. She's just like her personality. It's just like you feel for her because she's so trapped. She's trapped in her head like they're real people. They're just made up.
That shit is trending everywhere. If you go on Netflix now, you notice there's like a top 10 trending stuff. They've added a new section. Fucking the movie Outbreak was trending.
I watched that last week. I was in the mood to watch it with all the pandemic stuff.
Fucking Dustin Hoffman.
I watched the Jason Momoa Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, how is that?
God.
Was it?
It's terrible.
It's still terrible. Okay.
No, I mean, you know what? Like, this is the thing. It's actually it's not terrible. It's just bland. It's underwhelming. It's like it seems like they have everything that they need to make a good movie. Like, the art direction's not too bad. Like, the costuming is decent. Sometimes it looks like a video game in certain shots here and there, and some of the effects aren't quite as polished as they should be. And Jason Momoa, like, in battle, he's really, really, like, slick, and he moves really well. He doesn't deliver the lines
until he talks. That's what I was gonna say.
I mean, he delivers the lines like he does in Aquaman the same exact way. So it's nothing like you're getting the same guy doing the same exact kind of acting.
Hercules is going, Cyclops, my man, how's it going?
But it's just so, like, underwhelming. Like, it just really is, like, there's nothing new. I mean, what they do in this movie is great because it takes you through a lot of Conan stuff, but it doesn't do it with any, like, panache or anything. It just kind of, like, is there. And there's some cool fight scenes. There are. But, like, they build up to this. Okay, basically, I'll tell you what happens. The main villain in the movie is trying to get this helmet together, this, like, mask. And if he gets it, he can bring forth this demon or something that's going to give him the powers of a god that's going to be resurrected as his dead wife. It doesn't make any sense. But he goes through all this power. You never get to see that.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like, all right, the cool ending would be he puts the mask together, his resurrected wife, demon, whatever is going to come, and he's going to be powerful as a god, and then Conan's going to kill him. And he never gets to that point. Like, it just fizzles out before that, and the ending is so bad. So, anyway, if you're curious to see Jason Momoa wield a sword in a cool way, check it out, but I don't think it's
that story plot kind of reminds me of another thing I finally got around to watching just last night, which was Alita Battle Angel. And dude, the effects and the design in this movie are fucking amazing. Like, you forget that Alita is a completely 3D, CGI generated character. The problem is the fucking story is not the best, and it also, like, you think it ends and then it keeps going, and then it promises the whole time she's chasing after this one guy that she's remembering, and you think there's going to be a showdown, and it never gets to the showdown. She doesn't get to the city planet. It just ends. I'm like, what the fuck? That's how you're ending this? But I did enjoy her performance and the way everything looked, and the action scenes were
there were some good action.
Really good. They were really good action scenes. It reminded me of a couple of things, but it's the story that ultimately holds it back from being better than, like, good. So
you know what I just watched?
Yeah.
That it's still stuck with me.
Yeah.
Movie called King of New York.
Oh, shit.
Chris Walken.
Yeah, dude.
I never saw it, and I was like, let me just treat myself to this.
It's a fucking great movie.
Treat yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Treat yourself. It's Chris Walken at the top of his game.
Yep.
It's Lawrence Fishburne is annoying as fuck.
Yep.
And it's so slick. David Caruso's in it.
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes. it's like this sort of throwback to like those great 70s gritty New York police movies.
Brutal.
But they filmed it in 90s New York, which is just as shitty as 70s New York.
Before Giuliani cleaned it up.
Yeah, because they caught it as like right before it got nice in New York.
My favorite scene in that movie is where he shows up to with the briefcase and the guy thinks there's money in it and it opens it up and it's full of tampons. The guy goes, "What's this?" And Sam Jackson's like, "That's for the bullet holes, motherfucker." And they just blow him away. It's so good.
It's really good. It's really stylish. It's atmospheric.
I think if you like Tarantino movies, you will enjoy this movie.
Oh yeah, I mean Tarantino.
I haven't watched it in a while. Maybe I'll
Me
throw that
neither.
on.
I haven't. I got to watch that again. I watched this other thing on Netflix. It's the reboot of Spencer for Hire. If you were around in the 80s, you may remember this show called Spencer for Hire with Robert Urich. It's called Spencer Confidential, starring Mark Wahlberg and Winston Duke as Hawk and Alan Arkin. And it's not bad for like a Netflix movie. There's some decent action. If you're bored, check it out. It's a remake of Spencer for Hire.
Spencer for Hire is a show.
Was a TV show. This one's called Spencer Confidential. Is
it a show or is
it's
it a
movie? But it's the same idea. Like he wants to help people. There's a dude named Hawk. That's his buddy. He's trying to stay out of trouble, but can't help himself. And so they may make more.
Does he end up being a captain in Deep Space Nine?
No, he doesn't. That was Ben. That's Robert Urich, right? No.
Yeah.
Well, I have
No, that Hawk is the guy.
Oh, Hawk was the captain. That's right. The guy who played Hawk.
Cisco.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Avery.
I'm like, why do I get confused?
Robert Avery. That was Robert Avery. Yeah.
I don't know why Spencer for Hire reminded me of the Vietnam War, but I did. I watched the Ken Burns Vietnam documentary.
Oh, that'll take up like 40 hours of your time. It's super
they're
long.
2 hours each, and there's 11 episodes,
And it's very depressing.
It's super depressing. My dad is a vet, so I watched some of it with him when it first came out.
Yeah.
But like I sat through all of it, and I'm just like, there was one day where I watched that, and then I watched Platoon.
Oh shit!
And Hamburger Hill, which is another Vietnam movie.
Yeah.
And I wanted to cry. I was in the shower just sobbing. I was like, I watched The Naked Gun the next day.
Remember when OJ was in comedy movies?
Yeah, he was really funny.
This was a good time. But I've watched that documentary too, and all you get away, they drive the point home that we did not need to fucking be there at all.
No, you just
complete.
I don't need to watch it. I already know he shouldn't have been there.
But
you just fucking, like, if you guys think like the world is bad now, it was worse.
You watch that and you're like, why?
So much worse.
Why were we there? Why did all these people need to die? There's no
It just
fucking reason.
escalated. It's a lot of it was ego.
Yeah,
you know, the government didn't want to look bad.
Lyndon B.
They didn't
Johnson
wanna-
refused. He's like, we're not going to lose. We're not going to walk away.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they wanted to cover ass, and they end up killing.
They was in the name of fighting communism.
Yeah, but he just killed all our kids.
You know what I just finished too? The Oliver Stone series, The Untold History of the United
That's
States.
good too. Yes,
Yeah.
Anthony,
Oh my
told me
God.
about that. That's a good one.
It's like you watch it, and they start off with Roosevelt, FDR, and you're like, oh, he's a good guy.
Yeah,
and they show that he's like a good president.
Yeah.
And every president after that, you're like, Eisenhower, he was good. Oh no, he was bad too.
Yeah.
And you're like, Jimmy Carter, he was good, right? So you go through like the first Bush, then you get to Clinton, and you're like, you know the story. And I'm like, okay, they're at Obama.
Yeah.
He's not a bad guy. And I was like, I fucking hate Obama now. Like he made me hate Obama. And I was always indifferent to the guy.
Yeah.
And then I watch him like, this fucking guy's no different. I want FDR back.
Yeah.
So that's a good one if you really want to hate everything.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's called
The Untold History of the United
by
States.
Oliver Stone. It's a couple episodes.
Yeah, it's a few.
Yeah.
Years
You'll
old.
just-
It's down on Obama?
Yeah.
It's down on anything it's down. It just exposes how we've interfered with the world and for our own selfish
Stuff you
interests.
don't hear about, the stuff they bury.
But the stuff about Obama, I had no idea.
Well, like, I've never been like one to be like, oh, this country is like infallible or always right. I'm like, we're fucking just as dirty as everybody else. There's no country that.
Oh yeah, then you'll like
really,
this.
that's
you'll
not
like
that's
this
the
show.
size that we are that isn't doing crazy, disgusting shit.
You'll really like the show then.
Yeah,
I was just really surprised about the Obama stuff because with Trump, everyone's like, I miss Obama. And I'm like, yeah, he was a nice guy because I don't really pay attention to I don't really because he was so quiet about everything.
I mean,
and then I watched this and I'm like,
Well,
motherfucker.
I do miss Obama's like demeanor.
Absolutely.
Right.
Like I miss his professionalism,
his calming nature. We could use right now.
I miss his ability to give me the impression that things are in control, and even when they're out of control,
right.
And not only that, but like he was able to compose himself in a way that a lot of people could find something to look up to, and so like when people used to say stuff about Obama, you'd be like, well, that's the furthest thing from that. They're totally making stuff up. But when people say stuff about Trump, it's like mostly true.
No, it's usually
you
true.
You can't even deny it. You can't even defending somebody that does these crazy things like that. It's just like ridiculous.
Well, Trump took all the phony baloney political bullshit, all the fucking nonsense. Trump literally took that and just turned it inside out and said, "This is what we are. I don't fucking know." So Trump isn't hiding it. Like, he's not hiding it. He's like, we fucking suck.
I feel like
that's basically what he's doing.
It doesn't matter who is in the office of president, because the people doing the shit behind the scenes, they're going to do whatever they do. The guy in the office has to sell it. You figure out how to sell this, how to smooth this over. This shit is going to happen. We just put a different face on it. So if you can calm people down, great. If you can't hold your shit together, doesn't matter. We're still going to pull all this fucking horse shit in the background.
Well, what the show told me was that our engagements in Iraq were extended because the military told Obama, like, we have to stay there because of XYZ. And someone said, Obama, like, usually when the military says something, you have to listen. Yeah. And Obama just capitulated to it and said, okay, we'll keep people over there.
Yeah, I mean, what's he going to do? You're powerless. You just got to sell it to the people.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's what Bill Burr always jokes. He's like, they should pay all the presidents millions. He's like, Obama went in making like $100,000 a year, and he came out worth $10 million. He's like, how does that happen?
That's a good point.
That's good.
Don't make a lot of money in the president. A couple of announcements. We have made some guest appearances on other podcasts, myself and Anthony. That you should check out. I was on a recent episode of Two Peas on a Podcast with Gerald Morris. This was recorded a while ago. We are ranking the top 5 MCU movies. It's me, him, and another dude giving our ranking. And then recently, Anthony, you made a guest appearance.
Yeah, I was on Voice from the Underground, the podcast. Apparently, they're pumping out a bunch of shows because people need content. And I was on with Jason Dutch and Big Haas.
Shout out to VFU.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, just going over just life with this new coronavirus outbreak and what's going on and the politics and sports. Just a bunch of basically shooting the shit about it.
I mean, we're all at home. We may end up doing a couple of extra episodes. I don't know. We'll see.
I feel like we're going to be. It depends on how these things go by. These weeks go by. Like if they become really boring. I'll probably be like, I should probably make some content, and maybe we'll think of some cool stuff.
You should make content. Every artist right now should be making a lot of content.
Online content. What else are you doing? Also, next week, listener, will mark our 5th birthday.
Talking nerd.
Oh, shit. It is our 5-year anniversary.
Well, we did not do our 5-year plan. We're supposed to be millionaires.
We're supposed to have taken over the internets, but
God damn it.
I don't know if we'll have something special. Probably not. Just we'll reminisce on the fact.
Imagine, though, we finally made the big time, and then coronavirus,
and then everything shuts down. What? Yeah, that could happen.
It's like, we want to take you guys on tour. Do a bunch of interviews. Go, see the country, and nope,
shut it down. In this canceled world,
this was your chance.
But look, 5 years of podcasting is nothing to sneeze at. That's fucking crazy. And we'll talk about that more next week. In the meantime, give us some Apple Podcast ratings. We're up to 118.
Whoa.
Trying to get to 200 so we can be Rotten Tomatoes reviewers. However, if the movies don't come back, there might not be any more positions for reviewers. I don't know. It's week to week, fluid movement. Everyone, stay safe. Wash your hands. Regs, where can the listener find you?
You can find me after the snap on Twitter.
Yo, this fucking planet is so dirty that even Galactus would pass. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
yeah.
He'd be like, I ain't eating that fucking thing. Bellotti, thank you so much for your insight from the entertainment industry. But I'm really sorry that you're one of the collateral damage of the coronavirus right now.
It's okay. I mean, you know what? The whole world is hurting right now.
But look.
And I'm not alone.
Plug your shit, sell your stuff. Where can people find you online? What do you want them to do?
Well, I just got a new website made for my buddy John Ruffin, a.k.a. My Kaiju. He does those awesome kaiju photographs of like toys and stuff and dioramas. It's www.robo7.com. It's ROBO, the number 7.com.
I checked it out. I like the new design. I like it.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, he's still work in progress, but all my artwork's on there and t-shirts and prints and all that stuff. And you can find me on my social media through the contact section of that.
Robo7.com. I'll have links to all of these in the past in the press show notes. What am I trying to say?
What?
I don't know.
Wow.
I was going to say password.
Plug.
I was going to say I'll have links to these in the password. And
Speak American or die.
I don't know why I said that. Anthony, I hope you hang in there with no sports, no Vegas. No gyms.
I think Anthony's going to be the hardest hit.
I know.
Imran,
gonna be a vagabond.
Imran's been a recluse.
Listen,
I've been a recluse
they shut
my whole
down
life.
all the things I don't go to anyways, bars and gyms.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Anthony's the one who's like, oh man, I have to have a moratorium on getting laid.
He's gonna come out. He's gonna be fat. He's gonna gain weight.
He's gonna look like Fat Thor.
Bloated. It's like Nick Nolte in his mugshot.
I saw on Instagram earlier this morning, and I'll read it out to you guys real quick.
Yeah.
Let me just find it. So the Barstool Chicago put this out. They go, maybe not the time, but the first Saturday night at the bars after all this shit ends will be the best night of our lives. I'm talking complete takeover. Every drink is a double, cigs inside, sex in the streets, illegal fireworks from Indiana, live music. Give me everything you got. So I'm just waiting for that day.
You know how many deaths from alcohol poisoning are going to have in the fucking day this ends. Cigs inside, I'm all for. Send it. I don't know if that's still a thing. But good. Listen, hang in there. Everyone, hang in there. Just write us an email, show at Jock and Nerd. Let us know how's it going on your end. You can find links to everything in our show notes, jockandnerd.com/320, which will have everything we talked about, how to get in touch, how to support the show. Back the fuck up, but keep yourself healthy. And thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
Get the fuck away from me.
Back the fuck up.
My balls was hot.
My balls are...
It's Godzilla!
I fucking love it.
I fucking loved it.
I fucking loved it.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's really good. It's like really awesome.
Jock and Nerd.